Hello and welcome to the Graveyard Media Podcast, episode 69 for the week of December 3rd, 2018.
You heard him, bitches.
I'm your host, Saine Grey. With me is Dalsson.
69!
And Thel.
Nice.
Okay.
Anyway. That's gonna stay there for the whole
I
day.
accidentally navigated away from the podcast. Okay, here I am again. Yeah, so this week we're going to talk about some games and movies we've checked out this week and then head into some video game and movie news. Although I don't know if there's a lot, so we'll see.
There really
Isn't a lot of anything, honestly.
I feel like there's a decent amount of gaming news, but I think other than that...
Yeah. Well, we'll figure something out. There will eventually be things to do. Or talk about.
Exactly.
We'll talk about something for 22 minutes that has nothing to do with anything. You know, we'll fill it out. We always do.
It's true.
All right. Thel, start.
Okay. Thel, start. So... Oh boy, where should I start? I'll probably start on my continuous escapades in The Witcher. So I beat The Witcher 2 really early, like the day after the podcast or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought its ending was fantastic, and it honestly got me really hyped for Witcher 3. I think last week, what I said was something along the lines of in The Witcher 1, not a lot of your choices really matter. So if you import your save, it's like, you could go either way with it. You don't need to import your save. It's not going to be huge. But in Witcher 2, the save actually does matter a little bit. There are specific characters who probably will become important in the plot later than I'm in, that you can choose to leave alive or kill.
Wait, you mean importing your Witcher 2 save into
Witcher 2 save into Witcher 3. Yeah. And to the point where at one point I got drunk in The Witcher 2 and wound up on the shore after having literally tried to ride a whore across the ocean on her back and wound up with a weird tattoo on my neck. And I still have it in The Witcher 3, and it's wonderful.
Oh, good. See, that is pretty good. That's the kind of quality save importing content we expect.
But let me actually talk about the fucking game. So far it's the best one, as each Witcher game has been.
2 or 3?
3.
Okay.
3 is absolutely the best one. In 1, the combat was really, really bare bones, and it was kind of weird, and it was almost tertiary to the story, which was the big important part. In 2, the combat was there, and it worked, and it was good.
That.
And
Do you mean tertiary?
Yeah, tertiary. Sorry, that is absolutely what I meant.
Okay.
What was it?
2, it's there, and
yeah. 2 is there. And it works sort of good, but it can be a little bit janky. Like, sometimes, like, I was fighting a boss that I noticed a lot of people were having problems with, because whenever I'd search for a boss, they would, just, like, it would be, like, the autocorrect thing. What he was doing for me is he was charging directly into a wall, standing there with his arms at his side, just staring blankly at the wall as though it had just killed his father, while I smacked the shit out of his back, so, just really chunking the hell out of his health. And then he would ready up an attack at the wall, teleport 180 degrees and punch me in the face. So there was a little bit of jank, which The Witcher 3 completely removed, which is nice. The game feels like it's responsive and works, and the enemies aren't fucking teleporting, which is good.
The Witcher 3 feels like an actual ARPG in a way that I don't think even the second one kind of does.
Yeah. Though
exactly.
I feel like I've done a lot less combat in the amount of time that I played The Witcher 3 than I have in The Witcher 2, because one of the best things about The Witcher 3, what they've been doing is No.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I've been playing a lot of Gwent, and I don't really have a handle on it yet. But one of the big things of The Witcher 3...
I want to say real quick, if you like Gwent that much, Gwent, the standalone game, is free, and it works very similar to how it does in The Witcher 3. So.
Oh yeah, and also
they actually
again,
changed the rules to make it more fair for who you're fighting.
Yeah.
Good. Another thing. Oh, what was I thinking? Another thing is there's another Witcher game. The reason I'm doing a lot of Gwent is there's a Witcher adventure game that just came out a couple of days ago where the combat is essentially entirely Gwent.
I feel like I haven't heard good things about that game, but I don't really know.
I don't know either. I've heard good things about it, but I don't know. Maybe it's from people who essentially just really like the plots in The Witcher, and that's kind of what I do. Speaking of that,
it has a bad Metacritic score too, I think, but
really?
That's Metacritic, so I don't know.
Okay, but yeah. Speaking of the plot, the thing is, the thing that this game does is it very much irons out just about every part of all of the previous games. In the first game, the best shit the best shit in the plot was when the game just sort of like took you on a side route and got like a little bit silly, like you were hanging out with fucking Zoltan and Dandelion and getting your fucking ass drunk, stumbling the fuck in and proposing to Shani, you know, stuff like that. The Witcher 3 is at its best when it takes itself deadly fucking serious. It is great. The story is better than it has ever been almost immediately, and that's wonderful. There was a part in The Witcher 2, the very end of The Witcher 2, the epilogue for that, was this insane moment where you walk through this destroyed town after the villain's plan had essentially come to fruition. Right. There are piles of corpses, people like on sticks, you know, all that wonderful, wonderful, horrible shit that I love so much, and like the final conversation with the villain is this insane roundabout. And what they essentially decided to do for The Witcher 3, what if that was the whole game and every quest was like that? Everything in this game is incredibly fucked up. You essentially see the back end of a war. At the point I'm in, I'm assuming it's going to put you at the front lines of the war at some point, but at the point I'm in, I'm essentially running around in towns that have been devastated by the war. There are fucking necrophages running around, feasting off of corpses that are appearing in the rivers. The towns are all downtrodden. Everyone is turning directly to religion after the events of the second game. Sort of made mages and witchers looked at as like horrible abominations who are going to murder people.
Okay, but let's be real. Witchers are horrible abominations that are going to murder people.
Well, I mean, yeah, absolutely. Especially if you do the thing that Geralt always does. I'm going to stay out of politics. I don't want to have anything to do with any of this. But I don't think this is right, so... Oh no, I'm in politics again! Now I have to kill these people! Yes, how does this keep happening?
I looked up Thronebreaker, and it has an 85, so it's not as good as other Witcher games, but it's pretty good for games in general.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's what I was thinking. So yeah, I just recently got to the last quest in the Bloody Baron quest line, which is like the first quest line you get after you leave the tutorial, and it was incredible. It was horribly depressing. In the first game, I had a lot of problems with, you know, like having to go in between people and like, I found something about this. Now I have to go all the way the fuck back and talk to this person. And they would be like, ah, yes, you found information. Maybe information. Go information. I was like, yeah, that's not super fun or interesting. But this game, you go find something out about someone else. Then you go back to the Bloody Baron and talk to him about like what he found. You find him and he's like set a fucking barn on fire and wants to fist fight you because he's drunk and fucking pissed. What?
Him.
What? Oh yeah,
Bloody Baron back again. I'm
back again, setting those fucking barns on fire with a dude inside it. You have to punch his ass out. Or you find him just sitting, being depressed in a garden, talking about how these lilies were the ones that his wife decided to put in the garden. It's wonderful. All of the writing in this is wonderful. To the point where at the very end of what's essentially the tutorial like open world map, I was like, wow, this is the best thing that has happened so far in all of the Witcher games. When you are essentially exiled from that tutorial map for very understandable reasons on the people who live there's part. It's wonderful. It's very good with making doing its gray morality thing well in a way that doesn't feel like oh, this was just I guess I'm just the bad guy now because the game said. It was, oh, I'm just the bad guy because I should have noticed some shit and could have prevented this.
Right.
Like, to the point where you, the player, 100% could have prevented all of the bad things that have happened to people. I just finished a quest where I ended up with a man getting fucking killed because I failed to notice, like, a fucking ghost was lying to me.
I see.
So yeah, it was.
Well, that's pretty cool. Yeah, that's great.
All of your choices matter, and that's completely wonderful. Oh, another thing that I've really. Oh yeah.
I have a quick question. Verdict.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just give me a clear-cut answer. Don't go into a long-winded explanation without saying yes or no first. If I want to play this game, I have already decided. I'm skipping The Witcher 1, but if I want to play this game, should I play Witcher 2 first?
Maybe. Witcher 2 takes place almost like the what it is Witcher 2, essentially the events that happen in Witcher 2 are the like prelude to these events. If you want like a little bit of backstory, then go ahead and play Witcher 2. Witcher 2 is really, really good, and
Now, do you think with all of my problems with The Witcher 1, Witcher 2 would be tolerable for me to play?
Oh, you'd probably actually really, really like The Witcher 2. With all of your problems with The Witcher 1, The Witcher 2 has none of those problems.
Good.
Like, if your problem...
all of the Witcher games, and I haven't played any of them except the first one, and I hated it. So I do not want to play
the combat is completely, entirely, totally different. And the long stretches of walking are non-existent because in The Witcher, you essentially go to, like... In Witcher 2, you go to, like, 3 chapters, and they all have really tiny maps that you sort of just go into places inside of those tiny maps. And so, yeah, you're not, like, walking forever and doing anything. And one of the things that I really did like about The Witcher 2 that I found because I looked it up, Chapter 2 changes completely, depending on who you side with in Chapter 1.
Oh, nice.
It's a completely different story. And that's great.
I played The Witcher on through the Steam link on my TV, which introduced like a couple seconds of latency, but that game is like generous enough that it didn't matter.
Okay.
Right.
But I wanted to play it on my TV, because I have a really large TV. I have like a 55-inch TV, so I wanted to try playing it on through the Steam link, but then I got distracted and never went back to it.
That's understandable.
I see.
That fucking happens to me with video games too. So like, but yeah,
it happens to me all the time.
Yeah.
Remember when I was playing Mechanicus? Because I don't.
No. But yeah. What was it? Fucking. Another thing about Witcher 3. It's gorgeous and it runs great. CD Projekt Red are some sort of weird fucking insane wizard people when it comes to coding, because I have mentioned multiple times I don't have a very strong rig, but it runs smooth as shit on mine. I don't get like frame rate hiccups or nothing. It's gorgeous. And with it being gorgeous, one of the things that's like continued since The Witcher 2, all of the monsters designs are great. They all look fucking fantastic. There was a specific one where I had to go talk to like these 3 witches, and all 3 of them look really, really good. It's just this wonderful, wonderful, horrible monsters. I love it. Thank you, Witcher. So yeah, verdict on Witcher. You know how everyone said it's really, really good and you should play it? It's really, really good and you should play it.
Well, that's good.
So, someone from our chat, Error 404, the chat giraffe, was asking if the quests have good, like, interesting shit at the end, like quest rewards, essentially. Because I was basically...
Sorry, his worry was that that a lot of the quests would end up like Skyrim quests with 80 billion of them that you only do if you know you get cool shit. But like, I feel like Bethesda just has this weird fetish for Radiant quests, meaning quests that have no substance and give you practically nothing, but you can have all of them forever.
Yeah. The thing about the Witcher
But anyway,
quests...
what I was asking though is if... Like, I kind of said that enough of the quests have like compelling enough story that I think it's worth it, just for the experience. But do they also give you like in-game, like gameplay style rewards that feel?
They kind of don't. Like, there are like certain things like treasure chests and stuff where you can find like loot, but I don't think it's RNG. But essentially there are like certain quests that will get you a good piece of loot, and then all of this like there are exploration pieces that'll get you a good piece of loot, right? Like if you go destroy this bandit camp, one of the bandits is probably going to have like a magic sword that you can either use or sell and upgrade some of your Witcher stuff. But for the most part, no, for the most part you get money out of quests.
I see. But money can be used to purchase goods and services.
Yeah, and Gwent cards. Essentially, that's what I've been doing, is going to all of the towns that I can, busting into the barkeep, and I'm like, give me some fucking Magic the Gathering cards! I just killed an Adreja for like 3 fucking hours so I could get enough money to afford some of these bastards. I need a good deck, bitch. Also, play me.
Also, like, feathers for potions and shit.
Yeah, also feathers for potions and shit. Oh, that's another thing. The potion system in this game is much better than all of the previous games. What you do in this one is
you say that, but it's still not great. Honestly.
Sort of. I actually really like it. What you do is you have to find all of the ingredients for a potion, right? You craft those ingredients together, and then you get that potion. What I mean is you have unlocked the ability to use that potion. You can put it on your bar, and you will get 3 of them. And every time that you meditate, it will be replenished using alcohol. And for oils, it's similar, but instead of like you get it forever, you have 20 charges on it. So you can, oil up your sword and kill something with it for 20 charges, and then you have to, make it again, which is pretty generous. So yeah,
it's better than Skyrim, where you make a potion, use it on your sword once, attack something, and then that's it. And it requires going through a bunch of menus and shit.
Yeah. And the first Witcher game, where to be able to make the potions, you need alchemy. Like be able to find fucking flowers and shit, and you have to read about the flowers and also put a talent point into picking flowers, which was one of the big problems about that game. I feel like that didn't need to be like that.
Yeah.
He's a Witcher. You would think he would just be able to pick flowers.
Lore-wise, he lost his memory, so he doesn't know what anything is.
Yeah. Game mechanics-wise, fuck you.
Yeah, game mechanics-wise, fuck you. That's why. Witcher 3, wonderful. Another thing that I wanted to say. Out of all of the Witcher games, like I said, like Witcher 2 puts you into like little like big maps, but I did feel a little bit of heavy walking around like in the Dwarven town, but it was like so little of a complaint that I didn't even mention it. In Witcher 3, it feels like you move really fast, even though the world is really big. Even on foot, it feels like you move really fast. Horse mechanics were the best thing that The Witcher ever added. And that's another reason that, like, constantly finding one thing about the Bloody Baron's, like, daughter and then going back to the Bloody Baron to talk to him doesn't feel as fucking nasty, because you can just ride on your horse and it's fine. Sometimes he spawns his face inside of a barrel, but that's okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, Witcher 3 is fantastic. Everyone's been saying it's fantastic, and it's fantastic. I'm excited for Cyberpunk even more now that I played this shit. It is great. At this point in The Witcher 1 and 2, I was like almost through them after like a week. I'm nowhere close in The Witcher 3. I love you, The Witcher 3. You've been so good to me. And I've been playing a lot of that, even though my next game came out, and I've been super excited for it. So real quick though,
I just wanted to ask one more thing about Witcher. So having played all 3 of them now, is one actually skippable?
One is very much its own story. It has no connection to 2 or 3. Well, it has a little bit of a connection to 2, but it's not, like, enough. Essentially, if you want to play through any of them, if you want to play through them but don't want to play 1, you can completely skip 1 and that's fine. Like, Geralt in 2 still has his memory lost, and he gains his memory back in 2. So, like, there's... You can essentially... Yeah.
And 2 is kind of skippable, but is more worth playing than the first one, essentially.
Oh, yeah. And the thing is, like, 2 is essentially a 40-hour prologue for the 3rd game. To the point where when I
prologue.
Yeah, to the point where when I beat it, I got a achievement on Steam that said "to be continued."
All right, that's pretty funny.
Like, essentially, 2 ends with, oh shit, everything's fucked now. Nilfgaard is invading, what do we do? And 3 starts like, well, you know that place that literally the entirety of 1 and a lot of 2 took place in? Completely gone. Nilfgaard destroyed it. It doesn't exist as a state anymore. It's part of Nilfgaard now. It's like, oh no.
I wonder if
Temeria, no.
I wonder if Witcher 2 had achievements before Witcher 3 came out, because I remember they rolled out achievements sort of after a couple years on Steam, and I don't remember where that fell.
Yeah, it might have gained achievements,
because it would make sense if it came out after Witcher 3.
Yeah. It might have gained achievements with the Enhanced Edition, because the thing is, with the Enhanced Edition, they added a bunch of like, I'm pretty sure a lot of the stuff that makes it a prologue to Witcher 3 comes from the Enhanced Edition, because they added a bunch of like cutscenes and story stuff about like Yennefer, who is the person that you're searching for at the start of the Witcher 3, and who you start your search for at the end of Witcher 2. So yeah, it probably came with that. So yeah,
Right.
so yeah, Dalsson, I would recommend you play Witcher 2, though it's a little bit long.
Yeah.
That's okay. Witcher 3 is much longer.
Can I reduce the time that it takes to play by not doing 100,000 side quests? Oh, who am I kidding? I'm gonna do every side quest. I always do.
I think I missed a bunch of the side quests, and the story quests are still really, really long.
Here's a question. Could you just watch a YouTube recap of the story of Witcher 2 and then play Witcher 3?
One of the things that I would want would be to import my save.
Yeah, well, and if you're going to just watch a YouTube recap of the story of Witcher 2, you might as well just start Witcher 3 off clean.
I think if you start Witcher 3 without importing your save, it makes you choose stuff that you did in Witcher 2.
I know Witcher...
So you can make decisions in Witcher 3. I remember this because I never played Witcher 2, and I played Witcher 3, and it asked me a bunch of questions that I didn't know the answer to because I've never played Witcher 2.
Yeah,
right.
That makes sense.
So it's like, do you like this person, or did you help this person or help this person? This person. Did you go to this place or this place? This place. So it's like, I don't know. So like, it's not like you have to import your save, but
yeah.
Right. Okay.
So Geralt, did you help Yorveth or Roach? You mean my horse? No. What?
Anyway.
I mean, a totally different guy.
So you're going to talk about X4 next, right?
Yeah. So X4. X4 is a game that I started off trying to play immediately when it came out, and it crashed, like, constantly. Like, I was unable to play it. But then a hotfix came out the next day. I got the hotfix, and it fucking runs like a dream now. Speaking of things that are like crazy fucking wizards for coding, the Vulkan engine is wonderful.
Yeah, the Vulkan engine is so good.
I know, it's crazy, and that is what X4 runs on. A lot of problem that I personally had, and I made a big joke of it in the Star Citizen video.
Also, to clarify, Vulkan isn't an engine so much as it's like DirectX or OpenGL.
Yeah.
So it's
right. Yeah.
It's a little bit different than like the game engine, but yeah.
Yeah, because they made the game engine from scratch.
Right.
So yeah. After they hotfixed a lot of the problems, now there are only very specific things that crash the game and make it have a heart attack. But these are all things that I can avoid.
Sometimes I play games and I run into a bug that's not just reproducible, but like literally every time you do it, it crashes the game. Those are the funniest bugs.
Yeah,
because it's like obviously someone should have run into this. Like,
yeah, like I'm going in like my biggest problem. One of the problems that I have is I take an elevator up to a place, walk up and talk to a what is it? I walk up and talk to like a station CEO, and then the game just has a heart attack and dies immediately.
I see.
Yeah. Since the patch came out, though, instead of everything killing it randomly, only specific things kill it sometime, and I've actually been able to play the game. And so far from what I can tell, and I feel like I don't really have a huge handle on the game, it's essentially exactly what I wanted. It's X3 but updated and not as much of a fucking horrible bastard. It's still a little bit of a bastard, but I was able to make 300,000 money dollars. Oh, I'm sorry, no. 600,000 money dollars doing 3 missions instead of getting like 50,000 money dollars when everything, like even the smallest baby bitch ships, cost like 200,000. Like, it's in X3 everything is a little bit really slow, and this game fixes a lot of that by just giving you more money. Another thing is this game has a player HQ and a story quest that I haven't found yet, so I can't really talk about that because I don't know, because I haven't found it yet. It's somewhere. I have to keep looking for it. It's around. Yeah, essentially the game streamlines a lot of problems that X3 have. I didn't play very much of X Rebirth because it was fucking trash, and fuck that. It fixes a lot of the problems, like the fact that the UI is a horrible ass bastard, and the UI in X4 is essentially just a regular ass bastard. The controls are funky, and you have to spend a lot of time rebinding them the first time you play. So that's a problem. This was made by German men who don't know how video games control. So, but essentially that's going to be 10% of the 20 hours it'll take to get you start out because it's one of those games. So, but essentially what it is it's a very deep space sim where you can do essentially anything that you want. And that's wonderful. It doesn't give you like a start out mission like X3 did. In X3 you had like a bunch of campaigns that would choose what ships you did, and also it would give you like a campaign that you could play through and get like different ships and different items and stuff like that just for free. In each of the campaigns, however, it essentially just starts out what ship that you get, and then you have to find the main story campaign that gives you like the player HQ and a bunch of research stuff so that you can teleport and stuff. But yeah, it's very much a sandbox. It's very much a run around and do your own thing. And I was able to afford a better fighter ship and a goddamn mining ship with a whole ass crew doing 3 missions that I found on the Circle Highway from Argonne to the Telati space, which is nice.
Okay.
So yeah, essentially, X4, it's the X game that if you like the X games, you're gonna love. If you don't like the X games, you're not gonna like this game.
I don't actually think that I like X games, but
yeah, I can completely
like the
understand
concept of X games. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
I've never played one.
Yeah,
is this a good first one to play?
I would say that because of the fact that it has a tutorial for more than just flying, yes. Because essentially this is the most accessible one, but it's still very inaccessible. Like, one of the things that I talk about is, like, whenever I'm, like, trying to get into a game, like, if a game is, like, so inaccessible I cannot play it, I spent literally a very literal month attempting to figure out how you are supposed to play X3. And then when I started, actually learned how to play it, I had fun with it. And this game is a little bit easier, though it doesn't hold your hand, like, at all. Essentially, it's like, so here's how you do basic things. This is how you find stations in a sector and how you use the long-range scanner. This is what you do with a short-range scanner. This is how you fly the ship. You can also do all of these stuff. You can accept missions like this. Okay. Have fun.
That sounds much better than you can fly by pressing the W key.
Yeah.
Press the W key now.
Yeah, it does have like a lot of that. There's like the first tutorial. The first tutorial in this is how you fucking rebind your keys. We know.
That's bad.
Yeah, but yeah, finally a good X game. I'll probably talk more about this when I have more to talk about. I played it for like all night last night when I was hanging out with Megan and Dalsson, and I feel like I've barely scratched the surface. One of the Steam reviewers put it in the best possible way that I can think of. This is the game that Elite Dangerous wants to be when it grows up. It's great. One of the most fun things I did in this game was I got out of my ship, got onto the station, walked to an NPC spaceship, got onto its spaceship, and just like set there as he launched off and went on a space adventure with this NPC as he crashed into warp gates trying to fly through.
The difference between Elite Dangerous and X is probably like X probably is a really good, you know, like from a game standpoint, a good game, but all of the models look like shit and are made out of cheap plastic. Whereas Elite Dangerous, all of the models look amazing, but the game sucks.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. One of the things is I would say that this game looks about as good as fucking Elite Dangerous. This particular one, X however, like X3 looks like a gosh darn X3 looks like a GameCube game, and it runs on my computer really great. But this one, when it runs really good. I'm also getting like, you know, variable frame rate, but everyone's getting variable frame rate. So
yeah, that's just a problem with the game itself.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, another thing is that I will notice is the NPCs are very like cardboard cutout NPCs that just sort of exist so that they can be NPCs in the game. Their walk animations are really stiff, and they're in general really stiff, but for the most part, you're not looking at the NPCs. Unless you're just like walking around the station for the hell of it. One of the big problems with X Rebirth was the stations were fucking horrible bastards that you had to walk around. And in this game, you just go into elevator, want to go here, talk to this person. Okay, press Shift D to go back into your ship. Congratulations, you're done. You don't have to go to the station. Oh, you want to trade with the station? That's okay. You can do it from the ship menu. You don't even need to get out of your ship. Fuck that shit. Which is nice.
I kind of liked docking in Elite, but
oh yeah,
I know that it gets old, but
yeah, and they have like similar docking mechanics, and I really do like walking around the stations and like looking at all of the stuff, even if that's one of the things that makes my game crash every time. But yeah, yeah, and you can do that, and it has actually similar docking mechanics to Elite Dangerous. Unless you want to just download the fucking docking computer, that you don't have to do that anymore.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, this is really cool. You can dock as much as you want. Okay, this has gotten old. I'm going to buy the docking computer for like 2 pennies and a 6 pence.
I don't know. I liked docking. I liked docking because it made the game feel like there was game there. Because a lot of Elite Dangerous was like, okay, I'm finished up at this station. Let's take my hands off the controls while I warp to this one. Hey, I'm actually near a station. It's time to like play the part of the game for a second.
That's fun.
And then you dock, and it's like a little bit of a challenge, and then you're docked, and you're like, okay, cool. Let me sell some slaves, and then we'll move on.
Yeah. In this game, it's like you undock from a station. You fly around a little bit. You notice that one of the people in the fucking like highway traffic going around is a criminal. So you bust into that highway traffic, shoot his ass, steal his stuff, find a black market dealer, sell his stuff, press the L button when you're in scan mode, find out where all of the stations are, look for all the stations, try to find a mission about how someone's priceless heirloom was stolen by a food trader. Find that man, shoot his shit down. He ejects it after 2 shots and make $200,000.
I feel like I like Space Sims more on paper than in practice.
Yeah, and I can completely understand that, because the thing is, Space Sims are like a great concept where you can do all of the stuff. They're huge simulations and sandboxes, and you can do anything. You can blow people up. You can create a huge, massive, like, trading network and do all of this stuff. Unfortunately, all of that shit takes for fucking ever.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I don't know. It's always you always have to strike a weird balance with it between like making it realistic enough that it feels like you're actually doing it, but also making it not so tedious that you never want to actually do it.
Yeah,
exactly.
And then it's like, because it's a simulation game that's trying to simulate like 100 different things, what you end up getting is kind of not watered down, but kind of shallow versions of a lot of different things.
Yeah.
It's like flying doesn't feel all that fun because there's really nothing around. It is outer space, which, you know, is fair, but like it's not like it's not super exciting to fly around in space because a lot of the time there's not much there.
And
then
this game definitely fixes that, because there's like constant activity everywhere, which is one of the big things that the X universe has always had. Even in X Rebirth, it had like essentially there are stations. These stations produce a certain good. These stations need a certain good to run. So there's like this living economy that just runs in between the stations. So there's constantly traffic going around stations. Sometimes pirates will just decide to fucking shoot at you. You dock at a station, they start shooting at the station, the police just go bang on their ass. You find a criminal and use your baby bitch shit to blow them up.
Well, I mean near stations, yeah, but I mean just in general, like compared to something like, I don't know, like a normal flight sim, like not a space flight sim, like a normal flight sim.
Yeah.
That there's like more consideration with what you're doing in a game like that. Whereas, and part of it's just because it's space, right? But like, there's just a lot of different things that don't hold, that aren't aren't as developed, but are a little bit simpler. And then like, but the core of most games like that is the economy part, but it almost feels like you could also play something like Stellaris, which also has some of that, but like you don't have to sit there and wait for your ship to fly between places. I don't know. Well, I'm not saying it's bad, but I just feel like it occupies this weird place where they're trying to juggle a lot of different problems between simulation and being boring.
and the thing is, like with like you were saying, waiting for your ship to do that. One of the things is, like with X, that is so much better than Elite, and why I really like X over Elite, is in Elite you were expected to have a singular spaceship. In X you were expected to have a whole ass fleet of spaceships. Starting out, there are I'm pretty sure one of them starts you out as like a trader, where you essentially start out with one fighter ship and 2 trading ships. And all of the trading ships, you just have them automatically go and fucking trade for you across the universe, while you fly around and blow dudes up and do whatever the fuck you want. And the more you get, the easier it gets to make money, because you have like mining ships and trading ships and a giant fucking factory that makes all of this shit. And then you make more and more money, and it all piles on top of each other. And then you can help the war effort with an entire fleet of fucking battleships that you just send into the enemy territory, or just attack someone yourself.
Right.
Yeah. Essentially, a lot of like the tedium of Elite Dangerous is because it's like it's trying to be an MMO, but there's no one fucking there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think Elite was just very unfocused with what they were trying to do. It's like multiplayer felt tacked on, like an afterthought.
Yeah.
Even though they had to obviously do it from the ground up, they just didn't put enough effort into it. They thought, well, we'll just make a universe and everybody can meet each other.
Yeah, and essentially like and it's like, oh, we'll put in these factions that the people can like, you know, take over sections that'll have absolutely no impact on the game world whatsoever.
Yeah, it makes no difference. Like, Elite Dangerous was really disappointing when I played it.
Yeah,
really severely disappointing. Like,
and like the biggest problem we had with Elite Dangerous is you couldn't play with friends.
Pretty much,
you could feasibly play with friends. It was possible. You could join a group and do missions. And recently, it did add group missions. But essentially, if you're thinking of buying Elite Dangerous, just buy X4. There's probably going to be a multiplayer mod for it at some point if you want to do that.
Maybe someday Star Citizen will come out.
Maybe someday Star Citizen will have like...
It'll come out and be playable, maybe.
And because I was saying one of the big jokes that I made about Star Citizen was like how its performance ran, but I did play a little bit of Star Citizen. I did actually get out of the dock before in Star Citizen. That was essentially the joke for that video.
Yeah, I feel like that one time where we played together, I felt like, okay, they're on the right track. They have some missions that feel sort of interesting. Like you you fly to a place, you get out of your ship, you go in there, you find a thing, and then you leave, and it's like a deserted ship. Like, so I felt like there are elements that I think that they're thinking of the game in a way that I would like. You know, the actual flying in that game also felt pretty good. So I felt like they were on the right
and stuff. That's another thing that X4 has.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like they were on the right track with what they were doing. Well, I don't know, because I've seen X, and somehow the scale seems different. Not like the overall scale, but like your individual scale between your character and other things versus like I don't know, in I wanted to say in Crisis, in Star Citizen, you definitely felt like you were in the pilot seat, and it like felt like you were close to space. And I haven't played X, to be fair, but that's just not
X3,
I don't get the same impression from what I've seen anyway.
In X3, it is completely like it's you are essentially like a human being that is a spaceship. That your character is the spaceship. In X4, it is not like that at all. It has the same like docking mechanics and stuff as Star Citizen, and the same like Newtonian flight physics as Star Citizen.
It probably doesn't, because Star Citizen didn't have docking mechanics.
Well, not docking. I mean like station mechanics. Sorry. Like you can get out and go to stations and like buy stuff from the stations and like be a person. You can't first person shoot, but what you can do is get out like fly to a station and sabotage shit.
Well, that's what I mean. Honestly, I don't care about being in the space station exactly. I care more about like that part of that quest we played in Star Citizen where we all got out of our ships, went into a deserted derelict thing, killed some shit, and then came back. I don't even know if we shot anything, but we went in there with our guns and stuff.
Yeah, but it was
and
cool.
there are actually similar missions to that in X4. Specifically like part of mining, like mining crystals is a lot like that. But yeah, it's it is essentially there is stuff like that.
But yeah, I'm interested in Star Citizen, even if it looks like a train wreck still.
Yeah.
I'm just not expecting it to come out for another 10 years. So
yeah. This is the second game that Ego saw, the second X game that has come out since Star Citizen passed its Kickstarter. X Dalsson?
Can Dalsson not? Oh,
there it is. Welcome back.
Yes.
Yeah, you were pointing to your headphones, but we just couldn't hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Like Discord froze to me.
Yeah. But in Star Citizen's defense, it recently did add the ability to buy ships, which is unfortunately almost a little bit impossible even for a basic bitch ship because of the fact that they haven't implemented factions yet, which is the thing that you
need
get
to
your reputation up. Yeah, to get money. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but I feel like they're on the right track. It's hard to look at that game because it feels like it's a game. It feels like the kind of game where it's still very much like in actual development phase, except people are looking at it. Where I feel like for a different game, the state that Star Citizen is in, people would never see it. They would never see that the game like where it's at right now. Yeah. Because it would still be very much be like working on shit, but because they wanted to be very transparent about how they were doing things, that they wanted to give people who invested money into it actual ability to play super early alphas of the game, then it's kind of in this weird state where people are like, and it is fair that it has been in development way longer than it should have been, but I feel like people are shitting on it harder than they should be when if this were a game that was behind closed doors and just delayed out to hell, then it would be different.
Yeah, like think about Mountain Blade Bannerlord. If they had released an early alpha 2 years ago, it probably would have been shit. People would have been, this isn't Mountain Blade. What the fuck? I can't even raid a town in this game. Why can't I raid a town in this game? Because it's not feature complete.
Mountain Blade actually is like as far as that's concerned, that is actively in the game currently, and they've showed off that stuff.
Oh yeah, but that was a hypothetical.
Yeah, that's like a hypothetical example. Yeah, understandable.
Yeah, like Mountain Blade, if it had come out 2 years ago while they were developing it as an early access product, I'm certain it would have ran like shit. I'm certain it wouldn't have had systems that interwork the way they're supposed to. And Bannerlord's been in development for what, 5 years now?
I don't know about that. It's been in development for some time.
Yeah, a while.
Let's move on.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah, that's all I've done.
Yeah, I'll talk about, I don't know, I'll talk about Grinch for like 5 minutes. How about that?
Okay, that sounds good.
And then we need to talk about Hearthstone briefly before our break.
Yeah, okay.
So, I saw the Grinch, the Illumination version of the Grinch, obviously.
Yeah.
It's not as bad as it's getting a rap for. It's pretty okay.
Really? That's weird, because I'm actually hearing that I'm hearing people say it's pretty good. Mostly.
Really? Well, I don't know. If you go to Rotten Tomatoes, it has like a 45, but...
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. What I heard was like, I mean, you know, it's got its moments.
I feel like the funny thing about the Grinch is that, especially from critics' perspectives, right?
Yeah.
It's like a movie that really didn't need to be made.
Yeah.
Nobody really was asking for it. Nobody really wanted it. But now that it's here, it's actually pretty funny and fun to watch. And which is
better than the last Grinch remake.
Right. And they expanded Grinch's character in a way that felt not super ridiculous. Although I do say that people's complaints that the movie is a bit like Grinch is not like evil enough, I think that's a little bit justified, because he really doesn't come off that like part of it is because they explain why he's like that, and they give him a reason for why he's stealing Christmas.
Okay, and I will give it like I'll give it a little bit of a bonus point. It's probably not as bad as the other one.
Yeah.
Oh no.
It's actually
no way it's
I would say it's good. It's not a movie that I would... for a movie that didn't need to be made, it's pretty okay. Like, I'm not gonna say everybody should go out and see it, but this seems like the kind of movie that would be fun to have on the TV at a Christmas party, or a movie that comes on the basic cable when you're, like, around December. You know what I mean? Like, it's fine. I'm not gonna go out and buy the Blu-ray for it. It's funny, but it's not amazing.
Yeah, it's not amazing.
They also, so there's like 2 main characters in it now, which is kind of funny. There's Grinch, and they expanded Cindy Lou Who's character to having a character, as opposed to being not a character, but a person who's there for 2 seconds.
Probably not as bad as the other Grinch again.
Yeah, also very much not as bad. She has her own, like, side story, and she has her own... She's basically, like, a B-plot in the movie.
Yeah.
And then they also introduced another, like, a sort of side character. Like, it's in the trailer. They have another reindeer character that's, like, super fat, right?
Okay.
That character just didn't need to be there at all. And didn't... It felt like he was added to fill time. I don't know. So that was kind of like silly, but overall it was a pretty fun movie. It was just, it wasn't amazing. I don't know. Yeah. Honestly, we just need more Christmas movies, because we don't have enough, because all we ever see is the same like 4 old movies playing. I'd rather have more mediocre kids movies than like the same 4 that only ever get played.
Krampus.
Yeah, fun for the whole family.
You say that as a joke, but I do not disagree. It is very much a fun family movie. It's,
Mike is dead again, Dalsson.
Oh no. Yeah.
I don't know. You're still quiet.
Hello?
That's
hello.
better. Hello.
That was strange. I was muted, but I wasn't showing as muted on Discord.
Well, I don't know if you said anything, but...
Yeah.
I think I did. But oh well.
Yeah, so... It's pretty good. It's pretty funny. I'd say for kids, it's probably good. For adults, it just doesn't have the same appeal. But, it is what it is.
Yeah. It exists.
It's better than the Minions.
Yeah.
Nightmare Before Christmas. You can watch it 3 months in a row, and it'll be seasonal. Sorry, I had to give that one.
It was better than Despicable Me 3, maybe?
Okay.
But not better than the first two. Because the first two are actually good. The third one's just kind of like, eh.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay.
Hearthstone, right?
Hearthstone, yes. So I didn't play a whole lot of it, but I believe the new patch is called like the Insidious Workshop of Dr. Boom or something. It doesn't really matter, but as is the content in Hearthstone that I like, they've added even more single player content to it, you know, the fun stuff. And each of these little single player missions are like puzzles, essentially. They give you a preset hand and a preset board, and then they give you an objective. So like with this hand and these minions that are on your board, you want to clear all of the minions off the board on both sides, and then you do that like 10 times with different sets of puzzles. So they're really fun, and I feel like they're really well designed because it kind of teaches you how to play the game, essentially, which it like doesn't teach you how to use them in practical matches, but it does teach you like the concepts of the game in a way that like kind of just reinforces by making you do it over and over again. And of course, they're like card rewards for finishing all of these little puzzle challenges. So I think it's really neat. It's something that Hearthstone was really missing, because I know that a lot of people don't even understand the concept of clearing the board or understand the concept of like buffing a minion enough and then getting,
or even if they understood
damage.
the concept, like you shouldn't be required to go watch 10 hours of YouTube videos to learn how to play the game before you play the game. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like
exactly.
having some form of instruction in the game is probably better in general.
Yeah, for sure. But in fairness, it's not like that would be possible with something like Magic the Gathering. Like a legit card game couldn't have something like that either. So
versions of Magic the Gathering, like for the PC, not like Magic Online, but stuff like Duels of the Planeswalkers and stuff. They had stuff like that, and they had challenge boards where you had to like finish the game in 2 moves or something. So there was they actually other things like Magic have done things like that. So in a way, it seems odd that Hearthstone is finally doing that. Because it feels like this is something that should have probably been there a long time ago.
Yeah, they had like the single player scenarios that would have like special objectives, but it always had you like build a deck yourself and then test it out against the one particular special guy that had like they would have like a special mechanic tied to the character instead of having just like a preset board and then saying, okay, figure this out. That was one of the things that really attracted me to a different kind of card game called Prismata. They have a story mode, which leads you through a whole story, but each individual story is like a puzzle boss, essentially. So that's really cool. Like, I think that's a good way to do single player content in a collectible card game like that.
Yeah, well, I think, like I said, those Magic games are actually pretty good for stuff like that. They're just not like good for being card games, if that makes sense.
Right.
Like, because I don't know, I haven't played them in a long time, so maybe this has changed, but like those games never felt like platforms the same way that Hearthstone or something like Artifact will be, you know?
Yeah.
So like they felt like their own diversion. So you would play the game and it's like, okay, you're doing stuff like playing the baby the baby guy with a rat deck that they just give you and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Speaking it's kind of funny. Artifact, well, hold on. I was actually going to just say something about Artifact. It's funny to me that, sentiment was turning more and more against Hearthstone over time. And it's just funny to me that all of that was diverted away from them by Artifact coming out and being like way worse for how it's set up in terms of monetization.
Oh yeah, and
like that's just hilarious to me.
It's funny because like the main selling point that they talked up about Artifact was how the monetization wouldn't be random and shit, right? But the way they do it is worse. Like all they wanted to do was make a card game and just dip out of the loot box controversy with it. And so instead of
Well, no, because they have booster packs still.
Do they?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Actually, that's the main way you get cards. It's just
right.
They will also be hooked into the market. It's just like they're
right.
Artifact is trying
to buy
to
specific cards.
Artifact is trying too hard to be like a physical card game, but it's also not free. So it's like it's really puzzling because it's like, you know, you pay the $20 and you get a couple structured decks, which kind of is similar to how you would start a real card game, right? Yeah. Something like Magic. But it just seems really odd to me that they would do the structured thing and then have booster packs and have no way to earn cards. The only way you can get cards is by buying them, like with money. So on one hand,
that the Steam reviews, the top 2 Steam reviews are the exact same thing, saying buy game, open packs, sell cards for profit, uninstall game.
Yeah.
So like, I understand why maybe booster packs cost money, right? Because it protects the market from being flooded with bad cards, or you know, there's some value to them base. You can't just get a bunch for free. There aren't any cards that are like actually worthless, right?
Right.
Yeah. But at the same time, charging for the platform itself seems really stupid in a situation where you have to buy booster packs. They should just give you the structured decks. Like, if they're gonna do it this way at all, they should just give you the structured decks and then let the booster packs be like cost money, you know? Or they should leave it as it is but make you able to earn cards. You can't have it both ways. It seems really dumb that they did it this way. I don't know.
Yeah, the fact that you can't earn cards is the reason I didn't buy it. Like, my impression that I got when they were hyping it up was that you would be able to earn cards and purchase booster packs, but you could also purchase cards through the marketplace to keep you from having just a shitty deck and never being able to get the card you want. I was completely unaware that they would just remove the ability to earn cards, which that just sucks. It's not fun. It's not entertaining. Like,
well, I think it's bad for the ecosystem of the game. Like, it's bad for keeping people invested because Magic the Gathering, like, you know, Artifact is structured after Magic the Gathering, right? Obviously. It's designed to be like a virtual version of the physical card game. The problem is, for the physical cards, in addition to, like, you know, them having real value and stuff, there's also a social component to it. You go somewhere to play Magic with people. Like, they have, like, Friday Night Magic events. Like, there is
we have
structured framework
to every single one of those, because, like, I'm sure that he wouldn't play Friday Night Magic if it only existed within Duel of the Planeswalkers 2018. Like, that's not not the reason he goes to those.
So like, for them to try to make it that similar to a traditional card game but be virtual, it makes it a harder sell, a harder investment. Sure, maybe once you get people in, they'll, you know, be into it, but, like, you know, because of, like, oh, I spent money on this card game, whatever. But like,
it's getting people in.
Yeah, it's gonna be really difficult to get people in.
Yeah.
On a side note, while I heard the actual gameplay of the card game is pretty interesting, it lasts about as long as a real game of Dota 2, which means it can take like 45 minutes for a round.
For like one fucking match with one other human being? One of the reasons that Dota matches last so long is because there's 5 fucking people you have to get through.
Well, the funny thing about how Artifact is set up is you play it as if you're playing 5 people. You're playing 3 lanes. You move stuff to multiple lanes. You have to juggle where your characters are in each lane and how many, like, units you have in each lane. So it
actually sounds really interesting.
It does, but it's just Yeah,
I don't want to play it.
Fee. Yeah, I don't know. Like it,
and, you know,
it feels
that's
like
kind
maybe
of a good...
it feels like maybe for someone like you, Dalsson, who really likes these card games, maybe you should just get the structured decks, try it, and if you don't like it, then sell your cards and then dip out.
Right.
Like maybe you'll lose a little bit of money potentially, but at the end of the day, like it seems interesting enough that I want to check it out, but it is a really difficult sell to someone who might not even know if they like card games, but like Dota. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
So,
you know, so that 3-lane thing kind of gives me a good segue. I wanted to touch briefly on Gwent because we've already talked about The Witcher and we're into card games now. So, Gwent actually has a very similar thing where you have to like set up different lanes of each, like, you have to set up different lanes of each thing, and each lane has to overpower one another, and like whoever has the biggest net wins the round.
Yeah.
And then you move on to a second round where if you've already expended a card to win the first round, you lose the second round.
Yeah,
so
you have like 10 cards, and that's all you get for the whole ass game.
But that's the thing. I kind of
rounds.
feel like that makes Gwent a little like it's very interesting mechanically, and I see where the strategy comes from. But I feel like that makes Gwent itself a little like as a standalone game a little bit boring because you don't like you draw 10 cards and you're like, okay, I can see the entire game. I can see exactly where it's going right now.
Well, the thing is, I feel like when I've been playing Gwent, it's essentially the exact opposite of that. It's like, all right, I'm gonna have to save this because there's going to be a point in time when this motherfucker at some point is going to have like a ton of archers on the field, so I need to destroy that shit. I don't know if he is, but I'm pretty sure he is, and I have this just in case. I have to fucking see how he reacts on this shit so I can you know, use my fucking cards wisely. I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna play at the first one. Should I save these guys or just fucking play them? I have no idea what the hell I'm gonna do.
I think
that's essentially what Gwent has been for me.
I think it's probably more similar to the Elder Scrolls card game, which straight up has 2 lanes. It's like you're playing 2 boards at once.
Right.
I actually really enjoyed the Elder Scrolls card game from what I played of it, and that one was smarter too, and it's like they gave you basic stuff. Like, I think the story mode of that game is basically free. At least it is for several chapters. I don't know if later on they charge you, but like early on, I played for a good 2-3 hours of just story mode without even touching multiplayer. So like the fact that Artifact seems so restrictive in the way that it is seems ridiculous. Like I get that they're Valve, but come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then like other card game like okay. In fairness to Gwent and Elder Scrolls Legends and Hearthstone, they all seem relatively well balanced. Of course, within their little micro communities, everybody's going to say that it's imbalanced. But I played another one called Shadowverse a little while back, and I was going through the story mode. I was using a custom built deck. I was kicking everything's ass. I was even getting through the things that they said were supposed to be like really hard story mode enemies for like, you know, good like people who actually have a good deck and are strategically thought up, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay, well, I'll go into a foray on PvP mode. Now I've unlocked PvP mode. I can do this. I played maybe 20 to 30 matches, and I did pretty well and decent into every into every match, but I lost every single one. And every single one that I lost was because a particular card came out that I couldn't deal with. It was something along the lines of disable all of your enemy minions that aren't this type until this card is destroyed. And I didn't have any cards of that type, and I couldn't get any cards of that type because I couldn't win any matches because everybody else had that card. So like,
yeah, that happens all the time in card games. That's why there's always like 2 or 3 cards banned per set, usually.
Exactly. Yeah. But like it shouldn't happen with a virtual card game because you can just patch the card easily. Like with a physical card game, you can't like just put out a patch. Those physical cards exist.
I don't know about... Yeah, I don't know. Like, I think that on some level, yes. But on the other hand, especially if you tie a real value to it, people are going to be upset if you start nerfing cards. or completely change the way that they work. Because I feel like the only way that card could be dealt with is if they completely changed how it worked. That being said, people shouldn't be that upset if a card is banned in formats, in certain formats, because like at the end of the day, yeah, that it'll make that card basically worthless, but there are mistakes that are made every time in every card game like this. So
but
I guess a patch would be better than banning it, but you know.
Yeah, a patch is better than banning it. Like only the developers could ban the card from a particular format, like logistically. So if they have the ability to do that, why don't they just rework the card? The way that Hearthstone solves this is really nice. They come out with new card packs all the time, and instead of trying to rebalance every interaction of every card, they just only let you use the standard cards and the last like 3 packs that came out. Everything else is not legal.
I mean, every card game does that though. Like, Magic the Gathering tournament sets, you can only play the last 2 blocks or something.
But again, it goes back to what I'm saying. That is a physical card game. They have to do that. Other card games could take up that thing and just do that, but instead a lot of them just have shitty balancing problems.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, maybe they'll fix it, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I think that it makes sense to restrict it to some degree. You don't have to restrict it to the last, like, 2 or whatever, but it keeps gameplay like, it keeps
new strategies.
Yeah, it keeps the meta moving, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That being said, like, people are going to be very pissed if in Artifact they don't have some sort of unstructured format.
Yeah.
Like non-tournament legal format that is like I think it's in Magic there's something similar. It's called like extended or something.
Right.
They have extended format sometimes. But yeah, I don't know. Like it feels like if you want to buy more cards in a game like that, it just seems more fun to do something like a draft, you know. Like a draft thing.
I was under the impression that they were going to do a booster pack draft.
I think there is. I think there is a booster pack draft, but you have to pay for it. You have to pay for everything. That's the only thing. Like, and they also have like tournament vouchers, also. But those, I think there's some like material component to those too. Like you have to buy. I think you get one per certain number of boosters or something. Like it's tied to money still. So there's like no way to actually play that game for free. Even if you have your cards and whatever, you play tournament, but you're not working towards anything. You're just playing. It's like all you're really affecting is your MMR, which I don't even know that they tell you.
Yeah.
So
I assume they would. They do in Dota.
I don't think they do, though, because I heard that was one of the complaints about it, is like that you feel like you're doing nothing but playing. So, but I don't know. I could be wrong. Like I said, I haven't played it. This is just all secondhand information I've learned about the game. And it just seems like, as interested as I am in maybe trying it, like, it feels like a wait and see right now, because right now it just seems unplayable.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's it for games we've checked out this week.
We didn't even check that one out. We were just talking about how it kind of sucked.
Oh, we were actually talking about Hearthstone and comparing it to to Artifact, but I feel like it makes sense to talk about those two in the same breath right now.
Yeah, for sure.
So why don't we go to a break here for a little bit? Okay. It's 5:10, so 5:15, or do you want like a 10-minute break?
I'm fine with whatever. I'm not picky.
Let's do a 10-minute break because I got some stuff I might need to take care of. I'm not sure.
Okay. That sounds like a good
so
idea.
5:20 we will be back then.
Okay.
All right, we will be back in a little bit. All right, we're back.
Welcome.
I don't know why, but for some reason I like reached over near the stop recording button, and I don't know why. That would have been bad.
Oh. Yeah,
that would have been
that
pretty
would
bad.
not have been good.
Anyway,
Anywho,
gaming and movie news. Let's do movie news first. Not just
there's only like a couple of those.
Yeah, that's why I want to knock it out.
Yeah, fuck it. Alright, so the first one is really, really sad. Steven Hillenburg died. He was the creator of SpongeBob.
Oh.
We actually do have
57
stuff.
from ALS.
Oh, no, wait, no, we don't. Never mind. Yeah. Man, it's been such a long week because it feels like that happened forever ago.
I know.
Yeah. It happened at like the very beginning of the week. But yeah. Needless to say, SpongeBob was is very successful. It is somehow just as, if not more, quotable than The Simpsons, and we honestly count the amount of SpongeBob references we make in a day.
I feel like it's more quotable now.
Maybe, yeah.
Because I feel like a few years ago, Simpsons probably still had the edge, but now that we're at this point, I feel like it's probably more.
Yeah.
He was only 57, and he died of ALS.
Yeah.
Jeez.
That was like Stan Lee we talked about last year. He died because he was old, and that happens. This is like this man was young.
Yeah.
Well, relatively speaking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Shit.
Yeah. And he just come back to SpongeBob too. Darn. So, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. People are dying again.
Yeah.
It was like a couple years. Remember the year that David Bowie died? It feels like so many people died that one year.
Yeah, 2016.
Wasn't it? Didn't Leonard Nimoy also die?
Yeah, Leonard Nimoy, Philip Seymour Hoffman. Or was that 2015? I don't remember. But yeah, like a lot of people not only who are just like, sort of old, but like, people who kind of were young,
It feels like 70s and 80s icons are all starting to die now.
No, yeah.
Especially like rock stars. Like I don't think David Bowie was super like drug addled all over the place, but like I feel like very soon we're gonna run into like basically all of the major old rock stars starting to die, which is kind of really sad to think about.
Yeah.
Ozzy Osbourne's still kicking around though.
Somehow.
Yeah, somehow.
Yeah.
He's doing a new tour, I think, with Megadeth this time. When I saw him, he was a Slash. So yeah. And he's doing his, and I quote, last tour 2. So
Last tour 2.
That's great.
The second last tour.
Mm-hmm. So the next thing, which isn't sad, but it sucks. What we were talking about for a little while. It looks like Luke Cage was canceled, and it looks like Iron Fist was canceled. Maybe they're going to bundle that into Heroes for Hire, but they still have a season 3 of Netflix. Not anymore. Netflix canceled Daredevil.
Yep. So the only one still coming out at this point is Jessica Jones, and that should be the last one as well. Like I don't think anyone's expecting that one to continue by itself. So,
jeez.
That really sucks. And it's like, we just got the best fucking season of Luke Cage that was wonderful. We just got the best fucking season of Daredevil that was fantastic. And we're just sitting here like, hell yeah, give us more. No,
more Daredevil.
Yeah.
That's it.
And we know why. It's because they're Disney's ramping up to do Disney Plus. Oh my god.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, the cat is attacking a fly and the fly keeps flying around my lamp.
Oh no.
Okay.
Cat's going to destroy it. But it is pretty much Disney is ramping up to do their Disney streaming service, which is going to have like, a Black Widow series and a fucking Loki series and some other Marvel
Some of the stuff sounds really cool though. Like that Loki series sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, I can see it.
And they're probably like, I hope that, wouldn't it be nice if they were able to pull all of those weird, like the shows off of the weird channels and put it in one place? Like there's like Gifted, there's Legion, there's there's another one that's like not the Runaways, but it's similar concept.
I know Legion is FX.
There's Cloak and Dagger. These are like a bunch of Marvel properties spread across like 3 or 4 different networks, and you can't as we know, since they Disney bought 20th Century Fox. It's just a matter of time before they incorporate, you know, their FX shows. So it's like, wouldn't it be nice to have all of that shit in one place finally? Yeah. Instead of having to like look at 4 or 5 different like channel stations for each of them. Yeah. Like, because I can't even watch Cloak and Dagger because I don't have the station for it.
Yeah.
Right.
On top of that, how nice would it be to get like a logical place for all of their animated shows?
Oh yeah.
Like they're so ridiculous with their Disney XD and their Disney Channel. By the way, I heard the next season of Starverses is going to be on normal Disney Channel again.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Okay, sure. You know, so it's like I'm excited for them to have a place where everything goes, and I'm going to be very upset if they don't actually put shit there. Like, I'm willing to subscribe to Disney Plus and pay money for a subscription if they actually put their shit on it.
I'm just a little afraid that, like, the best superhero movies that have come out, even Sony has, like, put out stuff that is, like, really, really good because it's different. And I'm kind of afraid that Disney doesn't do that. Like, Iron Fist and Daredevil were very much, the creators had free reign. They didn't have to worry about the mouse.
Yeah, I don't know, because I feel like Marvel is safely enough.
Yeah, they didn't have to worry about Kevin Feige.
Yeah, I think Marvel is kind of more or less autonomous within Disney. There's some probably higher up things, like you have to make this PG-13, but I don't think overall there's like... I'm not too worried about TV shows, especially with some of the weird shit that things like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. have done. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. have done some really weird-ass shit, so I'm not too worried about it, to be honest. I don't think Disney cares enough at that level. On the movie level, there's probably like a little bit more going on, and Kevin Feige definitely runs the show.
Yeah.
But I think at the TV level... You know, obviously they're not going to port Daredevil and that stuff over. They're probably just going to stop making it, and because Marvel funded it, it's going to stay on Netflix. Or because Netflix funded it, it's going to stay on Netflix.
Yeah.
But
that is probably what's going to happen.
But I don't know. Does this mean they're going to create their own animated universe or not animated, their own like cinematic TV universe where they have a new version of Daredevil? Like, maybe.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Just have to wait and see.
Honestly, I really hope they don't. Not because I think that it's like, you know, replacing the old one, or because it's like, you know, I hate Daredevil, but it's like we've already seen an interpretation of that recently. I'd rather them do something new. Like Like, how cool would a Moon Knight series be? But
yeah, Moon Knight, or like maybe even just like a villains showcase that isn't like a trash fire, like fucking
Suicide Squad.
Suicide Squad, that was it. Yeah. I kept wanting to say Sinister Six. It was on the tip of my tongue, and I knew that wasn't it.
I don't think there's an equivalent to Suicide Squad. You know what would be really cool? An X-Men cinematic universe, or like connected TV shows. Like, they could do like 3 or 4 different X-Men teams that are all X-Men and cross over. Like, that would be really cool. You could have like the main, like the X-Men A roster, the X-Men B roster, and then you could also have like the X-Force roster, which is like the Black Ops of X-Men. So like, I feel like there's a lot of cool things they could do. I just like hope that they don't squander this opportunity, because I am totally willing to subscribe to Disney Plus, but they better give me a compelling reason to continue with it. Like, I feel like right now the only one that I would actually give money to is Netflix, because everyone else has been kind of lame. Other than Amazon Video, but I don't get it for Amazon Video, so like, I have Amazon Prime anyway. So I don't know.
Yeah, Amazon Video is just a consequence.
Right. So, I don't know, like, I'm cautiously optimistic.
Oh boy, you know how I feel about that term.
Yeah, but I feel like that fits the range of where I'm at with it. I want it to do well, because I don't think we're quite at saturation point for subscription services. Not quite yet. We're getting there, but this is not going to be the camel that breaks the straw that
breaks the straw's back.
Yeah, exactly. But, you know, I don't know how many more of them we can take, because I would never subscribe to something like Hulu. You know?
Yeah.
I don't think Hulu is a good enough value proposition already. So, we'll see.
Yeah. That's the thing. Hulu's one of the bigger ones. We got, like, the, all of the, like, big channels with, like, the NBC Plus, was the only place that you can watch, fucking the new Star Trek series is on. You got the new DC thing that, has
CBS All Access.
That has the new Terrible Titans. There's that one streaming service that's like an internet TV that had the, fucking, McElroy Brothers show. There are a bunch. What the fuck was that other one? The one I used to watch Mystery Science Theater on. That was free. Pluto. There are a few.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, there are a lot, but I feel like enough of them are specific enough that it's not going to be a problem. Right. Like, because there's also one that I heard about that is like all horror movies, and it's actually that's a kind of,
I think Chillers.
I don't know.
Chillers.
Isn't
the one that
Chiller
the
a TV channel?
Yeah,
Chiller is a station. I think there was a different one that is a service that is removed from that.
For horrors. But
I don't know.
I know which one you're talking about, though.
But I feel like enough of them are niche things, and I feel like Disney could be a niche thing, right? Like there are people who would subscribe to Disney and be like, "Cool, we have a bunch of cartoons, put it on for the kids," you know?
Yeah.
And it would be cool if we got like some Disney Vault stuff that they don't just put anywhere. Or like old reruns and backups of things like World of Disney would be cool.
Yeah.
That we just don't have any, like, there's no way to legally find them. And even illegally, it's probably difficult in some cases. So it would be nice to have that. I'm not convinced they're going to do that with their Vault stuff, but they might, and I would love that.
Yeah.
And even having every animated Disney film on it would be amazing.
Yeah.
And like with the intention, with the knowledge that they're not going to be removed, because part of the problem with Netflix is they add and remove things all the time. So while it's a good value proposition in general, you never know when something you want to watch is just going to be removed.
Just going to be gone.
Yeah.
But for Disney Plus, like, they better fucking have all of those animated movies, right?
Yeah. Why? Like, what would be there? That would be like a lot of people's reason to buy it.
Maybe it'll save parents from being tortured by their kid only watching Frozen or only watching Lion King. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If they have enough variety, maybe they can distract the kid with multiple movies.
Yeah.
Like the Lion King 2.
Oh, God. Oh, yeah, there's all those direct-to-video ones. What if they pulled out, like, old Toon Disney shit, like Timon and Pumbaa, the series, and, like, Hercules, the animated series? Like, that'd be some cool shit. I'm not convinced they do that immediately, but... What? I don't know.
Both of those were pretty bad.
Both of those were okay. I liked them as a kid.
Yeah, okay.
The Hercules one is better than the Timon and Pumbaa one.
I think the only one that I really liked was Emperor's New School, and I think that one's bad.
I hated that one. I did like Lilo and Stitch, the series, though. I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah, everyone watched Lilo and Stitch, the series, yeah.
I feel like that was probably one of the best TV shows.
Yeah, you could tell that the people who were making it actually like really gave a shit about Lilo and Stitch.
That reminds me. What about like Kim Possible? I forgot that's Disney. Like, that would be a cool show to rewatch.
Yeah, for sure.
So like and it makes you think, like, if they put any of their like Toon Disney or you know, normal Disney Channel backlog on there. Like, I don't care about their live action shit, but, you know, their animated shows. I would love that. That'd be great. Or even like classic stuff like Chip and Dale's Rescue Ranger. Like, that would be cool.
So
yeah, Tailspin.
Yeah.
Ah, yes, Tailspin.
I don't know if, like, I wonder if they would have to remaster that stuff, though.
Yeah, a lot of it probably could do with a remaster.
Because especially
if they
Tailspin.
do remaster it, good.
Well, yeah, that would be cool, but that doesn't mean, like, that's not something they're just gonna throw on there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Let's move on.
So the next thing is
this one is funny.
About this.
Oh no.
Oh yeah. So the Call of Duty movie is a thing that's happening, but what's even more interesting is the fact that a Call of Duty 2 movie is a thing that's happening. A sequel to the Call of Duty movie has grabbed the writer, one of the writers from Black Panther, not the guy who directed it, not Damien Chazelle. The other guy who worked with Damien Chazelle on it is writing the new Call of Duty movie. Not the new Call of Duty movie, the sequel to the new Call of Duty movie that they already have planned. Hollywood, I'd like to ask you to do something for me real quick. Slow the fuck down.
Yeah.
Joe Robert Cole. Robert Cole is the writer. That was the co-screenwriter of Black Panther. Yeah, just so we don't keep saying the other guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the other guy.
Because that's probably a little bit reductive, but you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like this is so weird. Like even just making a Call of Duty movie at all is so weird because like Call of Duty games came about because people wanted to play war movies. So now people want to watch war games.
Honestly, like, I don't think it's that bad of an idea. I'm not necessarily expecting it to be good or bad necessarily, but like Call of Duty as a name has value.
Yeah, and from a marketing standpoint, that's not that bad of an idea, but from like an
but here's
Hollywood,
the thing.
Please fucking God.
Here's the thing. I've played not all of them, but I played a lot of the stories of the different Call of Duties, and most of them, especially the modern ones, like Modern Warfare and on, not counting Black Ops stuff. Like the stories are actually pretty good. They're kind of an interesting alt future war kind of deal. So like the thing is, it's like they could just make a pretty good war movie in general and then slap Call of Duty on the name. Like, I don't think that's a bad idea because as long as they make a good movie, it'll be good.
Right.
The only, and there's nothing about Call of Duty that is like, this is the Call of Duty thing. It's not like Assassin's Creed. It's like where we have to put in hidden blades and animus and shit. Yeah. They don't have to they're not tied down by any of it. The only thing that happens as Call of Duty is there's wars.
Yeah,
I don't know,
which
man.
makes me afraid that they pulled a script out of like the fucking pile and decided to slap Call of Duty on it.
In the script currently, I'm visualizing it in my mind. All right, I just need to take down one more bogey and I'll get a kill streak.
But that's the thing. Like in the stories,
once the kill streak is activated, we'll have a Blackhawk in.
But that's the thing. Like in the actual like campaigns of those games, like they didn't have it wasn't hokey. They played it totally straight. Like and it made reasonable amounts of sense.
But Call of Duty isn't massively popular because of the campaigns. It's
but it doesn't matter. Like you're making a movie, you're making a story. Like you're not.
It doesn't matter. Like, a script from some guy and slapping the words Call of Duty on it for marketing reasons.
You know, and that could be good or bad. That could be bad because you know you're pulling a script, or it could be good. Maybe there's a good script floating around that they needed a good marketing edge for. Like, it could turn out fine. Or they might do something weird like Black Ops, which was like a weird alternate past everybody's crazy kind of story. Like, that would be cool too. You know, I'm like totally in wait and see mode, but I feel like Call of Duty makes the most sense of these video game movies because there's so little to pull from that they can just do whatever. And that I think that's good because they need to focus on making a good movie first, and if they're tied down by all of these video game components, then it hurts them. Yeah. Like, I don't know.
And that is true, but I don't know.
If anything, I feel like Overlord could have been Call of Duty Black Ops or something. Right.
Yeah,
you know? Like, it
see, now you're giving me another good idea. The after credit sequence advertising the sequel to Call of Duty.
That movie basically had Nazi zombies in it.
Yeah. Somebody pulls a fucking plank off of like an old German bunker, and a corpse just sits up and does like the Heil Hitler thing.
You know, and
Nazi zombies, Call of Duty 2.
You know, and they could put nods and stuff in there. They might, you know, I don't know, have Black Hawk helicopters and stuff. Like, I don't know. They could do all sorts of stuff. Like, that are nods to the game without being like explicitly kill streak confirmed or whatever. You know. But you know, they could be like, Oh, we got oh shit, I don't even remember. It's been so long since I played Call of Duty. The recon thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I forget what it's called, but there's like an acronym, and it's based on the real thing, obviously, but like
yeah.
But even going as far as to say like UAV or whatever, like that'd be like people who play the game are like, he said UAV, but like that's just a real thing that they could work in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
So I feel like less concerned about a movie like this than I would be a movie like Assassin's Creed, which was garbage.
Right. Yeah. And it sucks because that director had done like really good stuff before that. Though I don't think he was.
The actor's also really good, Fassbender.
Yeah, fucking oh Christ, he's like one of my favorite actors. It's sad that I like it, and that's so weird because like I've seen like the director's like Macbeth movie, which was fantastic, and it was. I don't think that man is capable of making a Hollywood movie.
Yeah.
It was a very slow-moving movie that used only Shakespearean dialogue directly from the play. So yeah, I don't know, man. I ain't seen the Assassin's Creed movie, but it was apparently garbage. Saine saw it, and you thought it was garbage.
Yeah, it was probably one of the worst, like, movie tie-ins. I thought Prince of Persia was better.
Yeah, I saw Prince of Persia. I forgot about it until this very second thing you said that word.
Prince of Persia, the bad thing about Prince of Persia was it was very safe and sort of mediocre.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. Fantasy movie.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. It was just it didn't do anything crazy. So
yeah,
at least that one's like non-egregious, right? It's not like the Resident Evil movies, which have their own weird cult following, but. Like, the Resident Evil movies, at least they were trying to, like, be something different. It was like, interesting where they went with it, even though those movies... No one's gonna defend those movies as being, like, high fiction. But, like, they were still really funny to watch because they were just so dumb, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, man. Speaking of Call of Duty movies, the new Monster Hunter movie is looking fucking great.
Oh god, I don't even want to think about that.
Directed by the same guy who did those Resident Evil movies. He's finally done with Resident Evil and is going to have Mila Jovovich fire a tank at a Nargacuga.
All right,
gonna fire a tank. Let's
talk about more.
He's gonna launch a tank out of a fucking catapult.
Why don't we move on to more superheroes? There's an Enter the Spiderverse movie.
So, Into the Spiderverse has early reviews have come in through it, and critics say that it's fucking fantastic and the best superhero movie since Logan. And I was really excited for it before.
Dude,
and now
I'm so
even more
pumped for it. It looks so good.
It looks really good. And Sony says they are already eyeing Spider-Verse sequels and spin-offs, which doesn't surprise me at all. They need anything related to Spider-Man. It's keeping them alive.
I think that this movie makes a lot of sense because it's Enter the Spider-Verse, right? So it's almost set up to acknowledge the fact that there's like a Spider-Man multiverse, right?
Yeah.
I mean, generally it's a Marvel multiverse, but like it's all the Spider-Mans because they're connected. But this is so cool because what it does is it sets up a spin-off for Spider-Gwen, who is like an amazing character. It sets off a spin-off for like probably like Jessica Drew Spider-Woman would be an interesting movie. Like you could do a Black Cat movie, which I think they're already doing a live action, so maybe or did that get canceled? It's hard to follow Sony. But it's going to be cool for them to do a lot of different spin-offs of this, and then you can also, like, it would make sense for there to be sequels for this, because I haven't seen a ton of it, but it doesn't imply the Spider-Verse from the comics. So you could also do that story as well, where you talk about Silk Spider, and you talk about the totems and, like, the weird spider-eater creatures and whatever. So there's a lot of interesting places this could go, and there's a lot to work with, because the Spider-Verse comic book series was very varied and all over the place. Also, I cannot wait to see Spider-Man Noir, who is voiced by Nicolas Cage.
Oh yeah, Nicolas Cage has been in good movies recently, which is fucking weird. Really like, weird.
But Nicolas Cage being Spider-Man Noir, how perfect is that? How perfect is that? So yeah, I'm pretty excited for this movie, and I'm pretty excited for spin-offs, because if like the animation in this movie looks so good and interesting and varied. It looks experimental in a way that I don't think any animated series has looked for kind of a while, you know?
Oh yeah, completely agreed. It looks fucking amazing.
So right. I'm like really pumped, especially if like Spider-Gwen had a very different look to other comic books like it. So yeah. I could see them moving really heavily into kind of this like weird thing with Spider-Gwen. Even from the trailer, the parts that touch on Spider-Gwen have been a lot more like kinetic in a way. So I'm pretty excited for that. And that's my thoughts.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I'm pretty pumped for this movie. It's coming out like really soon.
Great.
Yeah.
Great.
Anyway. The next thing, Scorsese's film The Irishman is going to have a theatrical release. Netflix is going to release it theatrically across the world, which has been part of the problem that Netflix's stuff wasn't allowed in Cannes. It wasn't being released in French. Its stuff wasn't being released in French theaters, and that was kind of a huge problem. And Scorsese strong-armed them into releasing them into theaters, because Scorsese has always been very, very heavily on, I want to put my movies into theaters, but the only way he could get this movie made was if he went through Netflix. So, because he's Martin fucking Scorsese, he can do whatever the goddamn hell he wants.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, Netflix is willing to bend over backwards to have a fucking Scorsese film purely on their side. I mean, why wouldn't you? So yeah, this might be good opening for Netflix to release more stuff in theaters. That's the thing. Alfonso Cuarón's Roma, which has constantly been in, like, Alfonso Cuarón is another one of the big directors like Scorsese. Its stuff has been running a theatrical run internationally recently, and that's a Netflix production too. Roma's kind of been at the center of all of this.
Right.
But yeah, and now The Irishman is going to be. So yeah.
Do you know what kind of sucks?
What's that?
This is not at all related to what you were talking about. This is more Marvel stuff, but like, unless Disney is able to get Spider-Man back, which it really doesn't look like that's going to happen, we are not going to get a Deadpool Spider-Man crossover, and it makes me sad.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of comic books where that happens, and they have kind of a really funny relationship.
Yeah.
So let's talk about game news, of which there's kind of a lot, actually.
All right. So can I start this, because I want to bundle 2 in 1.
Fallout.
Yeah. So the first news on the list here is that Bethesda has taken to Reddit, as many companies do, and are trying. I'm going to say trying because they are not succeeding very well, to be more transparent about what they are doing with Fallout 76. Now, in case you haven't been watching the internet at large, Fallout 76 is just like an absolute trash fire for Bethesda. Just absolutely.
From a PR standpoint.
They are getting, from a PR standpoint, for sure, yeah. But with 2 upcoming patches that they've already talked about, they're doing a couple of things to appease the community. They're increasing the stash limit. They are allowing you to actually respawn while you die when over encumbered. They're trying to get rid of that bug that makes you just stuck in your power armor until you drain a fusion core and then log out with no other fusion cores in your inventory. And they are fixing a bug that people were using for trolling. Now, I want to say this one specifically because it's very funny to me. There's a weapon in the game called the Cryolator, and when you hit something with it, they become chilled, which reduces their movement.
Hilarious.
They reduce their movement speed. And it pretty much, it's designed to permanently stay that way on mods. Like, you hit them, or on mobs, like PvE enemies, they stay slowed forever, right? That's the idea. But what people could do is, even if you were in pacifist mode, they could hit you with a cryolator once and apply a 50% movement speed reduction for 2 hours.
Yeah, the patch notes for this are hilarious. It's like, reduced to chill duration from 2 hours to 30 minutes.
30 seconds.
Oh, yeah, 30 seconds. That's right.
Yeah.
So it's like, wow. That's pretty
Additionally,
hilarious.
in a patch on December 11th, they are finally adding, for the PC version, push to talk, 21:9 resolution, so ultra wide, and a field of view setting. And they're also doing some improvements to the camp system. Your camp won't be automatically stored if somebody is already occupying your location.
I don't think that it's worth going in individually through all of the patch notes, but I just kind of the umbrella for this is that they're trying to take feedback from the subreddit and
right, and I think they're doing a good job. The reason I was picking out these particular ones was because these were the issues that everybody was focused on until, and here leads into my next
I didn't hear about
point.
that cryolator thing, but
really, oh well, these are the issues that everybody was focusing their evil eye onto until they made a statement saying that they were fixing these things. Then we had to find something else. Well, the Power Armor Edition of the game was promised a canvas bag. It did not come with a canvas bag. I own the Power Armor Edition. It comes with a shitty, cheap nylon bag. And that didn't piss me off at the time. And it
okay, but
sucked,
for real,
but
they deserve to be taken to task.
That was
shit.
dead ass false advertising, 100%.
Right.
Oh yeah,
so
as someone in chat says, FOV setting. Yes, please.
Yeah, like finally, yes. Jesus.
I still have to push my monitor back because it makes me sick.
Yeah. But anyway, yes, that was dead ass, straight up false advertising. But you know what? Nobody was really
nothing about this. But they are doing something about this finally.
Do you mind?
Yeah, sorry, go on.
Nobody was even pissed off about it. Nobody even really thought much about it until a couple people made a little outcry. Still nobody really paid much of attention to it. And then Bethesda responded and said, oh, okay, well, in compensation, we will give you something. It was 500 atoms, which is absolutely, don't get me wrong, in no way compensation for completely switching material and false advertising. But what I am saying is that it was not really that big of a deal until they said that they were giving compensation. And now that's the big hot topic.
I don't know that that's like a fair way to go on it, because people were complaining about it, but it sometimes takes a little bit for things to gain traction. I don't think it's just because they responded. It's because, you know, people like Jim Sterling made a video on it, and then like other people who are continuing to want to trash on Fallout have been doing updates on it. So it's like, it's not as if people are just mad because they made it up or because they responded. It's just people are mad and it took a little while to catch up.
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
As everything is.
Sure, but to continue my thought, people are now more mad than ever because Bethesda has said, if you bought the Power Armor Edition, we're going to give you a canvas bag for free. We're going to fix it. Now, people are mad more because they're fixing it. Because they're like, oh, well, they only are fixing it because they got caught. And they're probably right. They're only fixing it because they got caught.
I wouldn't say that they... I don't know if I would agree that they seem more mad than before. It's just like people wanted to shit on them, and it's like... Yeah, they want to point out that they're only fixing it. But I don't think that's the thing that they're more mad about. It's just like... they're still mad. They're still mad that they fixed it, but that didn't actually help for those people. But certain people probably are less mad about it now. Like, you're probably pretty happy that you're gonna actually get a canvas bag. But like, so like, you're not mad about it, but you know, it's easy to hear the people who want to be mad and loud about it. You know?
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like the more they respond to it, the more the outcry gets worse. Like, or more, the more the outcry gets more visible. It's like they're fixing it, and yes, they only are fixing it because they got caught. I'm not even going to defend them and say that they would have done this anyway. They wouldn't have. But
their support team even said there's no plans to fix it.
We plan to do nothing about it.
Which is hilarious to me.
Yeah.
Christ.
Yeah, so they're giving you free shit. You know what? I think a lot of the people who are still mad about it are people who did not purchase the Power Armor Edition and aren't getting this free shit now.
Well, I think what's happening is that...
Don't ask questions, just consume product. And
especially if you didn't really care about this and you were like, I don't care. I bought it for the helmet, not for the dumb nylon bag. So the people who are happy about this don't say anything. They're like, cool. And then they move on with their lives. It's people who are actively trying to be angry that you hear. So it's not a matter of people being more angry. It's just people wanted to shit on it anyway, and they used it as an excuse, and now that excuse moved, or like they fixed that problem. So now people are moving the goalposts on them because they want to continue to be angry. Like,
exactly.
So it's
like I think the outrage is justified in the first place, but continually moving the goalposts back, like, okay, once you run out of steam on, they're only fixing it because they have to now that it's an outcry, like, what are you gonna move to next? Is it gonna be, well, when they made the FOV slider, it only goes up to 120 FOV and I need 150. Yeah! Like what's it gonna be next?
I don't know. I think this is gonna peter out because, like, I feel like everyone who wants to be angry at it has kind of gotten it out of their system. There can't be more after this, really,
No.
because the final thing is like, pretty much the final thing is like, well, you only fixed this because you got caught, and everybody else is like, so, and then
they fixed it.
Unless they add something, like, pretend, okay, for a minute, suppose that Bethesda's looking at this comment that's saying, like, all there is NPCs everywhere. Like, there's no, there's audio tapes everywhere. There's no NPCs. I can't care about this mission because I never get to see someone, which is ridiculous to me. But say they go, fine, we'll add NPCs. And then they add about a bunch of NPCs, but they all are buggy. Then at that point, maybe people will get angry again and be like, look at Bethesda adding all these buggy NPCs. But I don't know that, like, I don't really know that would make a big headline. If anything, people will be like, cool, they added NPCs. So I think that pretty much we're at the point where unless they are like Destiny and add a huge expansion that locks people out of content or something, like, unless they screw up as bad as Destiny, I think this is pretty much done, because I think everyone else has moved on at this point. So
yeah, that's fair.
I don't anticipate it going on much further. I feel like this was something Bethesda really did need to take care of. They needed to
exactly.
Send people their actual canvas bags, but after this it's like,
yeah, and
people are already done being angry at the game for being the game. So, like, there's no more.
And the canvas bag thing, the whole thing about the canvas bag is inexcusable. So the Power Armor Edition, it seems, is still available for purchase on Bethesda.net, and the advertisement does say nylon bag in the text. So that what this probably it says nylon bag now.
Oh,
they've changed it. So I feel like going forward, if you purchase this edition, you will be getting the nylon bag. It's no longer a case of false advertising. You know what you're getting, and they intend to send canvas bags out to the people who pre-purchased it, essentially. So, like, there is no more issue. Like, the issue has been solved. They have been held accountable, and they have done what they need to do.
Yeah. I think the other ongoing problem,
people just want to continue to hold them accountable.
I think the other ongoing problem that might continue is the refund thing, because I haven't heard an update about that, but I assume they're probably still not giving people refunds.
Yeah.
And we had a conversation about that, so if you care about our thoughts about that, go check out last week's podcast. But
nobody gives a shit about refunds anymore. Everybody's concerned about their canvas bag, which is a much less important problem, if you ask me. People are being denied refunds is very important.
Yeah, especially since
instead of canvas, but the canvas bag is the big thing this week.
Especially it affects only like 200 people or whatever the initial sales for that were. So like whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway,
not getting refunds is still bad, but no, I don't think anybody's going to be talking about that anymore because the fucking canvas bag thing happened.
Well, I don't know. It might if that class action lawsuit something goes on with that. So we'll see. Yeah. Anyway, let's move on to good news.
Sure.
Nintendo has updated their stream things. Their stream rules.
Oh, thank God.
So before, for context, Nintendo used to have this creator program where you had to give Nintendo like 30% of all YouTube revenue, or it might have even been more. And then also there were other rules like you could only stream Nintendo games. So like you had to have a dedicated Nintendo channel to make any Nintendo YouTube videos. And then on top of that, you had to give like 30% of the revenue of those videos as well.
To Nintendo, yeah.
To Nintendo. Also on top of the YouTube cut. The standard, like... Oh my god, what? I just let you out. And then you came back in, and you're still meowing at me. So they've changed it so that now they have... I'm just going to read some of these guidelines, because they're actually kind of funny. But
kind of shitty.
Well, no, they're still good. They're just kind of
oh, the new ones.
Yeah, the new ones.
Yeah, the old ones were kind of shitty.
Yeah. I was gonna read out some of the new ones because the other ones that already happened. So like now, and maybe this is like I don't know how interested people are in this because this affects us more than it affects you as a viewer, but.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna go through it anyway because it means a big deal for us. It means we can actually talk about Nintendo games finally.
Yeah, and even probably use clips from Nintendo games.
Yeah, and stream it and stuff. So they have their basic rules, which it says as long as you follow some basic rules, we will not object to your use of gameplay footage and/or screenshots captured from games. For which Nintendo owns the copyright in the content you create for appropriate video and image sharing sites. So here's the guidelines. You may monetize your videos and channels using the monetization methods separately specified by Nintendo. Other forms of monetization of our intellectual property for commercial purposes are not permitted. So down further, there's like Q&A, and they specify Twitch and YouTube and a few other ones, but those are the ones we care about. We encourage you to create videos that include your creative input and commentary. Videos and images that contain mere copies of Nintendo game content without creative input or commentary are not permitted. So what this basically means is if we have a review or a let's play or that sort of thing, it's okay. If it's just
like the gameplay,
it's just cutscenes, that's bad.
Yeah, then,
if it's just music, that's bad.
Right. Which makes sense. That's perfectly reasonable.
Right. You're only allowed to use games that have been officially released. So that basically means they're still going to go after stuff if you leak content. They don't want that. Not counting... I assume this means not counting, because it actually says in the Q&A, it kind of clears some of this up. Not counting, like, show events. So something like E3 captured footage of a game that's technically not out is probably okay because they have separate guidelines specifically there. So if you are capturing from E3, you might have to talk to the Nintendo rep, and he might say, these are the streaming rules for this specific event's footage.
Right.
And then that might be stuff like, you have to label this E3, you have to do this, you have to do that. And there might be some sort of embargo attached. The next part is if you want to use an intellectual property of a third party, you're responsible for obtaining any necessary third-party permissions. So they're basically saying, we're wiping our hands of this, and you might get in trouble from us if you get in trouble with someone else.
Right.
Maybe. You're not permitted to imply or state that your videos are officially affiliated or sponsored by Nintendo. This is pretty obvious, but it's a reminder to people not to fuck up. I feel like this is more of a we're covering our own ass kind of rule on Nintendo's part.
Yeah, it's not a we're covering your ass.
Yeah. And then they still reserve the right to remove any content they believe is unlawful, infringing, inappropriate, or not within the guidelines.
Okay. Basically, as compared to their old guidelines, which was, here are 75 games you can stream if you go through this rigorous application process. Any other game that is not on this list is illegal. And those were their guidelines.
Yeah. That was kind of the worst.
That's like fucking like a astronomical difference in what they had previously.
Yeah, and if you uploaded something that was Nintendo, you would run the risk of either being content striked, or they would just take your revenue. One of the two.
Yeah, and it was the bad kind of content strike where you get a few and you lose your channel, not the like muted video kind of content strike where it doesn't really matter.
And then like they would also, you know, we ran into this a little bit. We put up a YouTube video of us talking over Nintendo's conference. You can't mirror the conference. So one of the things you can't do is you can't just take the conference and upload it onto your channel. But since we were doing commentary, it was like, okay.
Yeah, now it's okay.
Yeah. Actually, I think that may have been monetized even back then. I'm not even sure. I'm pretty sure we have our Nintendo thing. Oh no, that's right. We didn't monetize it because we were worried about it.
Yeah.
Right.
So now we can go back and monetize that one. That's cool.
Yay!
Not that it matters anymore, but you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, not really.
But in the future.
Yeah,
in the future we can do that.
So
or like even something like if there's a really important Nintendo Direct, we could talk over that. Like, I mean, I don't know how interesting that would be, but like hypothetically, that's something that we're allowed to do now.
Right. Game tournaments are not covered. Those have their own rules, I guess. You might have to contact Nintendo specifically to make some sort of deal about that.
Or they might just be saying that like maybe the Evo showrunners don't want you streaming it.
Yeah, I don't know. It says like you know, uploading or live streaming content from a Nintendo authorized or licensed tournament is within.
Oh, okay.
You know, is in a different thing.
Right.
So
that's like.
Or actually, it looks like you can you can do commentary over licensed tournaments, but hosting a tournament is different and outside the scope of the guidelines. So if you're hosting your own tournament, it might be different, I guess.
Right. Okay.
Also, the other thing is like, can corporate entities upload or live stream videos using screenshots? And it says this is only for individual consumers, so that might create problems for people who are LLCs, which currently we are not, but we probably will be soon. So I don't know. But I don't know. Corporations are people, right? Legally speaking.
Legally speaking.
Yeah, I don't know. And then it's like, don't break laws is basically like the last point.
Yeah. Don't stream Nintendo porn.
Which is illegal.
Well,
Luigi's dick is illegal. You're not allowed.
I don't know if it's illegal, but it's definitely inappropriate.
Well, I was going to say something like do something like don't stream child porn while doing you know, fucking playing a Nintendo game, but that got all muddled up, and I feel like it's much more funny. It's just don't stream Nintendo porn.
Yeah. Don't stream Nintendo porn. That's illegal.
All
yeah,
right.
it's illegal. Bowser is not sexy, and you shouldn't think so.
Not even Bowsette. You guys are against the rules. All right, let's move on.
Next thing.
This one's hilarious because when it was posted, the context has changed.
Yeah. So long story short, and maybe the context hasn't changed. Here's the thing. When I found this first, right? When I looked this up to see if this had any like what was
First
going
of all,
on.
that we're talking about Borderlands.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Sorry. Well, I'm talking about Borderlands. When I looked up this article about a bunch of tweets going on about Borderlands, I looked at what was going on, and good old Mr. Pitchford had said that there's going to be a Borderlands VR title. It's going to be Borderlands 2, but in VR. So I saw a bunch of things saying, are these tweets talking about a third Borderlands game? We just don't know. But the thing is, they were talking about some slightly different tweets than the one about the Borderlands VR game. So maybe.
See, last I heard about this, you were talking about Borderlands VR, and I was like, that's funny. It's just not the same.
Yeah.
So, yeah, my interpretation of this whole situation was like, they're making tweets about a Borderlands game. Oh, it turns out it's Borderlands VR. Everybody's mad.
And that's
oh, wait, maybe we're talking about Borderlands 3 still. So it's like, this has kind of gone back and forth for me.
Yeah. So yeah, we don't know. And if they are doing Borderlands 3, that gives me a good reason to make a video at some point that I've been planning to make, and it's been sort of like on the. I want to make this video at some point. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So there's a lot of speculation that it'll come out or it'll be announced at the Game Awards, which makes sense because the Game Awards has said that they have like 17 world premiere announcements at Game Award VGAs. I don't know if it was 17, but it was like a lot.
Yeah, it was a lot. That's cool.
Now revealing Fortnite
2.
No, just the same one again.
Oh, okay.
We're releasing
Fortnite.
it over.
We're releasing it on something that hasn't been released.
Now announcing Fortnite Thanos again.
Yeah.
Good.
Now that the Avengers are back, so is Thanos
in Fortnite.
All right. So next thing.
Next one.
Stardew Valley news.
Oh yeah, this one's interesting. The creator of Stardew Valley, Concerned Ape, has decided to split off with their partner Chucklefuck. Yeah. So Chucklefuck is no longer the publisher of Stardew Valley for PC. Chucklefish, the real name of the developer, will continue to be the publisher of the mobile and Switch versions, but the PC version is going to be published, like self-published by Concerned Ape. So that's interesting.
It sounds like so it was an amiable split. Like, it doesn't sound like there was any problem with Chucklefish, and in fact, he was very happy with his interaction with Chucklefish initially, just because they were able to do some of the marketing and they were able to like help him when he was first entering the industry. But now he's at the point where he knows enough about the industry that he feels like self-publishing is like how to go.
And okay, I'm glad that whatever was concerning the ape about self-publishing, he's now got over.
Yeah, and Chucklefish doesn't. I was wondering how you were going to work that joke that you talk about every time we talk about Stardew Valley.
I literally make every time anything Stardew Valley comes out.
Yeah, Chucklefish doesn't seem like Chucklefish isn't pissed about it either. Like their statement was they were proud to be a part of Stardew Valley's story. So
yeah, and it looks like they'll still be. So he's self-publishing on PC, Xbox, PS4, and PS Vita. But Chucklefish will still remain the publisher on mobile and Nintendo Switch.
Okay.
Right.
Probably because it's likely harder to publish to those.
Yeah.
Because I think technically Stardew Valley wasn't promoted as an indie on Switch, maybe? But I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. However it works out. But yeah, that's cool. And I think there was speculation that he was working on another game too still, right?
Yeah, that'd be exciting.
I don't know if he's outright said that or if it was just a speculation. So it could go either way, but it looks like he's continued to develop like story, like multiplayer and stuff, so there is some movement on that.
Yeah.
And he probably needed Chucklefish initially to help with his porting purposes.
Yeah.
But as of December 14th, they're going to split.
Yeah.
Honestly, Chucklefish probably isn't that upset because I think they made a lot of money from that deal. So
yeah.
And I'm really excited to see more out of Stardew Valley. Actually Chucklefish, because they had that like
Starbound.
No, not Starbound.
Oh.
There was a new game that was coming out that they were kind of comparing to Stardew Valley, which is that like magical schoolgirl.
Oh yeah, I remember that one. Yeah.
So I'm pretty excited to see that. I think everyone was upset about upset at Chucklefish for a little while when really they were upset at Starbound.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
So the next thing I want to talk about is Anthem is having a closed a closed alpha next week.
Oh yeah, this is BioWare's new thing.
Yeah.
I am really excited about this closed alpha because it means we'll finally get some actual information about what the gameplay will be like.
Yeah.
To sign up for this closed alpha, you'll have to fill out a form on EA's community page. So players with a subscription to EA Access or pre-order alpha will not be given priority access or guaranteed a shot. This is specifically for people who they decide to pull out of this forum. So if you're interested in that, I will put a link into it in the description and into the Twitch chat right now. But yeah, I'm really excited to find out some stuff about this game because I have no idea what this game is still, you know?
I like it because it looks like the whole game is based around power armor. Like, intrinsically, not like you happen to be in power armor. Like in Destiny, you happen to be in power armor. But
it's kind of like Mech Warrior, sort of.
Yeah, with Anthem, it's like your character basically is your armor. Like, you upgrade your armor in pieces and stuff. So that seems pretty cool.
Yeah.
But again, like you said, we don't really know anything about it, so I could be just totally off on that.
Well, it's like, you know, you could like the theme of the game and how it seems to work, and then you play it and it's trash. Like, I feel that way about Destiny, kind of. Like, even initially, I enjoyed the gameplay of it, but looking at the long term of what Destiny is, like, that game was kind of bad from my perspective. So,
yeah.
That's not to say I didn't enjoy my time with it at the time, but I don't think I'm ever going to go back or buy any of the expansions or care about Destiny again. So,
yeah.
There you go. I feel burned.
Yeah, definitely.
Completely understandable.
Yeah.
Moving on, PlayStation Classic.
Oh boy, more info about that?
You say, oh boy, but this is bad news.
Oh no.
So nine games from the PlayStation Classic are going to be the PAL versions, which means they'll run at 50 hertz. That's bad because in the United States we use NTFC, which runs at 60 hertz and 50 hertz, as you might expect. It does not convert to 60 hertz very easily.
Yeah.
Some of these games it doesn't matter too much, but some of these games it probably will fuck up a lot.
Yeah.
So the 9 games are Battle Arena Toshiden, so it'll fuck up that. Cool Borders 2, it might fuck up that.
No!
Destruction Derby may or may not affect it. Grand Theft Auto, the first, like the original one, probably, well, that one could go either way. It probably won't hurt that one. I don't know what Jumping Flash is. Oddworld Abe's Odyssey, it could really fuck with that.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's some, like, precision jumps and stuff that you have to do, very timing-based stuff that you could really get fucked up. Resident Evil Director's Cut, I don't think it will affect that too bad, because a lot of the pace of that game is slower anyway. Tekken 3, completely ruined. I cannot imagine playing...
Fucking way you can play a fighting game.
I cannot imagine playing Tekken 3 in 50 hertz. That sounds awful.
Yeah.
Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six probably will hurt it, but maybe it'll be playable. That one I'm like concerned about working, but
I don't know. I don't think it'll be that big.
I feel like the real ones that'll really hurt are Tekken, Oddsworld, and Battle Arena. The rest of them could go either way.
Pretty bad too. Like,
I don't know. I don't know how tight the timing windows are on that. It's been a while, so it might be fine. It might be bad. It's not like Tekken where input matters so much.
Like you're basically not going to be able to play Tekken. It's gonna be unplayable.
I feel like games like Cool Borders and Resident Evil have a window, like a timing window, that are generous enough that it might not matter that much. But it's like input lag, basically, is what this means. So that really sucks. I don't know. I'm probably not gonna buy one. This might have killed it for me. I'm never really felt like I was going to buy it for the purpose of actually using it.
Yeah.
Like I feel like the only reason I would buy this is to put it on my shelf because it looks neat. But like,
so that you could load mods onto it, or load ROMs onto it for using the emulator that it comes with.
You can still do that, but it's not allowed. You shouldn't do this. Ripping your own mods is the only way to get mods, but you probably shouldn't.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like, people are going to do it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
We can't condone it, but it's
gonna
gonna
happen.
So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that for sure.
And so that leads us to our next big kind of thing. Lootbox update. Yeah.
Oh, what happened?
Everything
what did they
we want to hear. Yeah. Okay, so are you just done with the whole topic, or are you ugging it? I mean, I think that this still matters because there's still loot boxes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, so after Senator Maggie Hassan said in a meeting with Congress, the Federal Trade Commission chairman Joseph Simmons said in basically Maggie Hassan said, FTC, will you look into loot boxes because these reasons and scare all the children, they're bad, and it's now like an epidemic and all of this like baked in stuff. And also there was a UK report from last week that she also used as evidence, and the FTC, when asked if they will look into it, gave their very detailed and very
extensive maybe.
Extensive yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, they will look into it.
Okay.
But they responded with one word, yes.
Yeah.
Which is kind of hilarious, but apparently this means they're looking into it. This isn't like a big thing because it's not results or anything, but
we have no idea how this look into it is going to go. It's just going to be they are looking into it.
And this spells bad news for the gaming industry as a whole, that there's eyes on this at all. Mm-hmm. But I think from a legal standpoint, I don't think loot boxes have a good case, because unless they want to actually change gambling laws, there was already a major court case about Magic the Gathering, which is kind of a funny like throwback to what we were saying earlier. Yeah. But Magic the Gathering specifically, according to United States precedent, is not gambling because you receive a good.
Yeah.
Whether that translates to virtual goods, we don't actually know. But there is a very compelling argument to say that loot boxes are not gambling because of it's similar enough to booster packs for Magic the Gathering, and that it was precedent. That doesn't necessarily mean that they won't overturn it, but it does mean that...
or that they will consider the virtual goods less of a good than the actual physical card you get.
Yeah, so it feels like it could go either way, and this precedent does not necessarily mean they might not just change their mind, which is possible in the court system. But I feel like they have a bad case. That's where I'm at, but I'm not a lawyer.
Yeah, right. Generally, there is precedent that it wouldn't be, but we'll just have to wait and see.
I think it's an interesting development, though, because it means that the industry is getting looked at for this reason.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, I was kind of
industry pushed too hard against motherfuckers, and now big game companies are getting shit on by more than just their fans. They're getting shit on by the legal system.
Yeah, the United States government. Don't want that.
The fucking entire EU.
Not the entire EU. It's actually been pretty split back and forth, which is kind of funny. There's been a couple of countries that straight up said, no, it's not gambling.
Yeah, it's
and there are a couple countries who are said it's gambling, so, you know, it's up in the air. But I think Belgium, the EU, if you say Belgium is the EU, which they basically are, then
Belgium,
so, you know, this whole thing is very interesting. I was kind of thinking from the perspective of game companies like Ubisoft and Activision Blizzard and, you know, EA.
Yeah.
I understand why they're doing this, and it's like, and even Valve to some extent, it's like, you know, it makes so much money that it would be dumb of them not to try to make as much money as they can right now while they can, you know?
Right.
And it hurts us as consumers and all that, and maybe we don't like it and whatever, but like from their perspective, they have to do it until it's illegal, because they want to make as much money as possible.
Right.
Unless they care more about their self-image, but nobody cares.
The game industry doesn't give a shit about that. Let's be real.
EA certainly doesn't care about that.
Oh yeah.
Ubisoft has been
never given a shit.
Ubisoft has been very good at following the leader without getting in trouble themselves.
Yeah, they've been like tiptoeing behind EA as close as they can. How much can I fuck someone? How much can I just shit all over my fan base without going too far?
Without
like
actually
EA did?
pissing them off like EA.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, you just gotta tiptoe a couple of steps back when EA just crosses over the line and shits the bed.
Yeah. So
fucking disgusting. Christ.
And I've played EA games or Ubisoft games, and I don't hate them. And even like Destiny and Overwatch, it's like I don't like the mechanics, but I don't feel like I'm being taken advantage of. But I'm not the person who's susceptible to like gambling.
Yeah,
problems,
exactly.
So.
Same. I don't have like any. I'm like actively anti-gambling personally. Not like anti-gambling is like.
I don't think it should be illegal.
I don't gamble.
Yeah, I don't think it should be illegal and not allowed ever. But I went to a casino in Las Vegas, lost the $200 and went, I don't think I'm having fun.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Meanwhile, Dalsson over here.
What? I stopped listening when you said the word loot boxes. I don't want to talk about this anymore.
Okay.
I'm not saying you guys shouldn't talk about it. I just am saying I have absolutely no interest in this thing that started fucking years ago and has made no progress.
It's been a year. Actually, it's made tons of progress.
Yeah,
we've been talking about progress.
Oh yeah, well then why do we still have loot boxes?
That's the thing, because game companies are super greedy, like Saine was just saying. They gotta make as much money as they can before it's illegal.
But even then, we have made a lot of major progress in loot boxes. There are a lot of games that have taken them out or changed them or are afraid to release their games with them. So it's like, there's a handful of companies who still do it, but I think overall, the tide's turned on it.
Unlike the fact that they aren't having loot boxes in their game. They go on Twitter like, oh, by the way, no loot boxes! Exclamation points.
Yeah, they said that when loot boxes were the big hot topic, but loot boxes
still do.
Not the big hot topic anymore.
They definitely still do.
They definitely still do.
Yeah.
And Bethesda,
I mean, these things aren't like a fad that dumb people just like flock to, like it's like dumb celebrity news or some bullshit. This is like possible legal ramifications because companies are mistreating their customers.
It doesn't matter how big it gets, it's still dumb shit that people flock to. I mean, it's not dumb shit.
It's not dumb shit, that's the thing.
It's not dumb shit, but it's still a fad that people flock to and then move on when something else comes along. Doesn't matter whether it's dumb or legitimately useful to talk about, it's still a fad that people flock to.
And what's the problem with that? If someone wants to shit on a company for doing something bad, why is that a bad thing?
Because if you don't stick with it and keep talking about it, nothing's gonna happen.
And okay, yes, but then why is your response to this? I'm apathetic, so I don't want to talk about it anymore. When we're still talking about it because to us it's still an important issue, and you're just like, if anything, you're talking about yourself here.
Yeah.
It's true.
I don't know. Like, I do understand where you're coming from in that, like, the fad of blind rage for this period of time is dumb and annoying, and I hate it. I agree with you. But I think that this is a unique situation where that kind of happened, that big uproar happened, but people still care about this in a way that they don't like it. And it's like maybe they don't have the energy to be blindly raging at it anymore, but people are still upset about it, and people are still talking about it, and people still care about it. So I don't think that
possible legal action being made about it to this day.
Yeah. And it's not
like the whole ass year.
And I know that people like have gotten upset that Jim Sterling is still talking about it because he every time he makes a video about loot boxes, he brings up the fact that people are angry that he's still talking about it. But I think for us, it's like a side note at the end of a podcast, so I don't think it's like we're not making a whole video about it.
It's like, hey, by the way, the story that we've been following this entire time has gotten an update.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like me talking about the Netflix thing.
Right.
Anyway, but I guess I could see how you're empathetic.
I'm not saying, like I said, I'm not saying you guys shouldn't talk about it or we should not talk about it in the podcast. I'm saying I have absolutely no interest in this story anymore because I predict that it's going to keep going for the next 10 years and nothing's going to change until one particular big thing happens years and years down the line when nobody even remembers it except for lawyers who want money to sue people with.
But that's the thing; it's moving faster.
Yeah,
it's moving faster than that. We were just talking about
it. It's not like DLC where it's just going to become the norm. Like again, Belgium has outlawed it straight up. That hasn't exactly happened before.
Yeah. But I agree with you that likely it's not going to change because I think the way that the law is set up, I don't think that they'll win. But it seems like it is such an unpopular thing though that. Except in mobile markets and on certain AAA games, like I don't know, like I you know,
and even
I think the tide's turned against it.
Yeah, and even if you look at like DLC previously, you have games like Shovel Knight who have actively made a effort to make their DLC as content-filled as possible because of the outrage against like big AAA companies like EA who are just kind of shitting on everyone.
I think what kind of where it's at now is it may or may not be illegal, but if you release a game with loot boxes now, you look like a scumbag. And it doesn't matter, you know, whether or not it's egregious or whatever, but you still look like a scumbag. If it and, you know, and it's more forgivable if it's like a free-to-play title or something, but if it's like a game that you have to pay $60 for and it still has loot boxes, people don't like it. Yeah. And it's gonna hurt them. Yeah. It might not hurt it'll hurt their image. It might not hurt their bottom line initially, but it'll hurt their image. So
yeah.
But you know what? We were talking about something similar to this in when we were talking about Artifact earlier. When like in everything that I've seen about Artifact, people are pissed off about the fact that you have to pay for it and that you have to pay for cards. But people are pissed off about the fact that you have to pay for cards. I haven't seen people get pissed off specifically about the fact that those cards come out of what are essentially loot boxes. I just see people getting pissed that you have to pay in general.
Well, those are like card packs, which is like an established thing that came before loot boxes.
Yeah, I think again,
that's like a trading card thing.
Yeah,
but they're the exact same thing.
Yeah, they are, but it's
well, they
it's different because of context. It's not like they're changing the game to make loot boxes work. That's just how trading card games work. So they're not actively changing anything.
Yeah, they're not shoving like a Magic the Gathering card pack system into a first-person shooter, essentially.
Right.
But that being said, I agree with you, and it's stupid. I don't like it anymore. And I wish you could. I don't even hate loot boxes. I just hate them being tied to money. Like, because remember when we were playing Vermintide? That was a good implementation of loot boxes in that it gave us random shit without us having to pay for it. So
right.
Well, and also random shit that like sort of progressed with us.
Right.
Yeah, and like okay, like unpaid loot boxes which have absolutely no way of being paid for, like those are fun enough. It's just the same thing as opening a chest in Diablo.
Yeah.
Like that you find, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So the problem is paid loot boxes, but like
we've
been over that over and over and over and over
again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's our loot box update.
Yeah.
I think that it's interesting.
Yeah. Right.
So that's it for us this week. Why don't we talk about some of the stuff we're doing coming up?
On Friday, you go first.
No, you go first.
Okay.
You go first, though.
On Friday, I'm probably going to release a X4 video.
Cool.
Nice.
This Friday?
Yeah, this Friday.
Okay.
Excellent. Also, this Friday, I will be resuming my stream. I kind of basically took an unofficial hiatus and then changed it to an official hiatus. Path of Exile Betrayal launches this Friday, so I feel like that's a good time to start up again. However, and going with the reason for my hiatus in the first place, my work is still screwing with my hours, so I will be streaming that at night instead of in the morning, about 7 to 8 PST. So
you're only streaming for an hour a day?
No. I will be starting at about 7 or 8.
Oh, within that time frame.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right,
I guess it's not PST anymore. It's PT. By the way, we don't have daylight savings time here where I'm at, so
yes.
I'll be
no.
starting
Actually, you
around
do.
7 or
You
8.
only have daylight savings.
No. We're exactly the same as Arizona. We got rid of daylight savings.
No, it actually works the opposite of Arizona. Arizona never had daylight savings, whereas California made it so that they switched to daylight savings and aren't changing back.
If we were on daylight savings, I would be in the same time zone as you. I'm not.
No, because you have daylight savings, don't you? I don't know. Whatever. I read a thing and I swore that's what it said, but whatever the case, you're not putting your time back again.
Right.
Yeah.
Correct.
We're
staying on the same time.
Although I heard I read that might not hold up. They might not be able to do that, but
yeah,
strange.
But that's likely the case because they did pass it, but we'll see. Which is just frustrating for me and you more so than anything else.
Yeah, more than exactly.
And also, it might fuck with the TV industry. I don't even know what's gonna happen there. They're gonna have to make a big decision of whether or not they're going to change for daylight savings, even though they're all based in California, or if everyone else is just gonna have to deal with California doing whatever they want.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's it for this week. Thanks for joining us, and always remember,
stay beautiful.